Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV. My name's Bernie Weemers and we're here tonight to broadcast the Australian Sportscar ProAm from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, I think it is. And I'd like to welcome my co-host, Tim Ballinger. How are you going tonight, Tim?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Bernie. Hello to all the viewers out there. And looking forward to a good night of racing around Spa.
Yeah, it should be a very good and exciting racing. We've got a great turnout here again tonight, which is fantastic to see. And you can just see the guys at the moment, viewers, they're out doing their qualifying now for the next 15 minutes, so the action should heat up. But speaking of heating up, Tim, you're out there during practice, and how do the cars feel on the track today?
Yeah, 41 degree heat around Spa. They get a little bit slidey, so they're going to have to really look after their tyres today and just not push the car. If they do that, they're going to heat the tyres up real quick. So I'll be looking for a bit of action there with guys sliding into corners and then putting their throttle down a bit too quick and it'll go again on them.
Yeah, and because this is an hour-long race, we don't really expect the GT3s to throw tyres on the car. So would that be your understanding as well, Tim?
I'm probably one of the lucky ones. I've driven all three of these cars that are in the field over the last 3 months, and with the Corvette prototype and the Aston, they'll be able to chuck on a set of tyres at the same time they take fuel. So I'm expecting most of the field there to probably pit about the 30-minute mark to maximise their tyres. But the GT1 cars, it takes 27 seconds to put on a set of tyres. It ain't going to be worth it. They're just going to have to look after them and do their best. And from memory, it's going to be a little bit tight on those GT3s for fuel too. So a few of them may even run out and have to do a splash and dash towards the end.
Okay, well that's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on that's for sure, because I think this will be the first, as we see Scott going into the wall heavily there, and he was just overtaking one of the GT3s down the back of Camel Straight there, and they got together. But I guess that's another thing we're going to have to watch there today, isn't it, is the difference in speed between the DP and the GT3s.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing that'd be interesting too is I noticed in practice with driving both the Corvette and the Aston, there's probably only about a 2-second difference between the prototype and the GT1 cars. So any of those slower boys in the DP are actually going to be under pressure from the GT1 field. Yeah,
well, we've seen that quite a bit, especially last round at Sebring. We saw quite a few GT1s pressuring the DPs. And so it'll be interesting again tonight. One person to keep an eye on who's just finished qualifying lap is Michael Hammond. He generally tries to take that GT1 to the DP drivers.
Yeah, he's one of the quicker boys in the GT1 field. I think he's won nearly every race so far this season. So, he's the man to beat, and the other boys have just got to step up to his level.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And they're starting to. And as this season progresses, I'm sure a lot more will start to get even more speed out of these cars. But just having a look at the weather, folks, at the moment it's a clear sky out there, wind speed 6 kilometres per hour, track temps 37 degrees Celsius. So as Tim was saying earlier, keep an eye on the tyres tonight, folks. They're going to be using them. The track length here 7 kilometres an hour and total of 21 turns.
The other thing the drivers will have to watch out for tonight too, Bernie, is going to be their off-track. Spa is one of the, apart from probably Circuit of America, it's so easy to get off tracks around here. I know they've got a 20 limit before they start deducting points. They won't get disqualified during the race, but they will get points deduction on the championship table. So a lot of the drivers are going to be very careful of that as they go along too.
Yeah, and that's one thing we saw playing a part, I think it was in Monza at the start of that race. It might have been a different series, but the DPs there, I think, got a real hammering there into the first chicane.
Yeah, that was the AEC, and I was one of the ones getting the hammering.
Yeah, there you go. So, but having a look at our point score, folks, let's go through with 11 minutes to go, then we'll bring you up to date where the drivers are in this qualifying session. So at the moment, the top 5 in DP, it's being led by Simon Feigl for Evolution Racing Australia. He's on 36 points, followed by Josh Burden in second for GT Omega Racing. He's on 33 points. We've got Zach Hanlon for TD Racing. Keep an eye on Zach. He's definitely been showing his pace in this class and he loves these cars. He's on 32 points, so he's still well within the hunt there. Marcelo Rivera, Evolution Racing Australia, in 4th down there and 24th points. And then equal 5th we have Aaron Farmer from Nutters Motorsport and Matthew Zimmerman for LMTI, both on 20 points. So it's looking nice and close there in the DP field tonight, Tim.
Yeah, no, it's all to play for still. It's still early in the season, and yeah, I think a lot of the big boys will be giving it as much of a shake as they can.
Yeah, they definitely love their racing in this series. Having a look in GT1 field, Aaron Martin in the DBR9 GT1. He is not Aaron Martin, sorry. He's driving an Aston Martin. It's Anthony Mazzarella in Evolution Racing Australia on 22 points. Michael Hammond for Laser Racing in 2nd on 20, and he's also in an Aston Martin. Craig Hopkins in the Chevrolet Corvette C6R sitting there in 3rd, 17 points. 4th, Lance Hawes for KRF Motorsport on 16 points. And then your top 5 tonight is rounded out by Anthony Winkleman, Trick Customs Racing, and he's down there on 14 points. So it's looking like the Aston Martin is the definite favourite here in the GT1s.
Yeah, with the two cars, Bernie, the Aston is probably the easier to drive out of the two. It's better through the corners. The Corvette takes a lot of work to understand and also to get the setups right, but if you can manage it, it's a quick car. It's just a shame more people haven't put the effort, I suppose, in to get that one up to speed.
Yeah, well, the Corvette, it does take a fair bit more work, doesn't it, to get the most out of it, but we can see it can get results in the right hands, and you're right, I'd love to see more of them out there.
Yeah, it is a great car. I used to drive it about 8 months ago sort of thing, and yeah, just like I said, it takes a bit to set it up, but if you can get it right, it's a beautiful car to drive.
Yeah, now turning our attention to GT3, folks. We've actually got 2 classes in GT3. We have the Pro and we have the AM class, the amateur class. So the Pro class is drivers with an I rating, I think it's over about 2,500 or 2,000, and the amateurs are under that in their I rating. So at the moment in the Pro class, Adam Funslow for ILAC Motorsports is leading the way in his McLaren, and he's been showing some real pace in that car, and he's probably one of the favourites in the GT3 class tonight. He's leading the way on 27 points, followed by Richard Brookfield in another McLaren for IRFF, and he's sitting there equal on 20 points with Scott Stevens from FSR GT Omega Racing in 3rd. Daniel Benefield is sitting in 4th at the moment for Avid Chronic Racing on 11 points, and he's equal with Aaron Pearce, a privateer, on 11 points in the BMW Z4. Having a look at the Pro class, that's being led by Scott Goodman at the moment for KRF Racing on 17 points, followed by Jeffrey Price in a McLaren for Tassie Badger Motorsports on 14. 3rd is Trent Thomas in the BMW Z4 for GMT Racing on 11 points. And 4th is another BMW Z4, Alexander Sheridan for Blackadder Motorsport on 10. And then rounding out your top 5 in the AM class is Brett Hender driving a McLaren for Tryhards Racing, and he's sitting there on 9 points. So again, after 3 rounds, it's all to play for in those 2 classes.
Yeah, it's probably the harder of the 3 fields there back in the GT3. You're dodging all the traffic as well as trying to race each other, so the boys are doing a great job back there.
Yeah, they certainly are, and considering they drive with half an eye going forwards and one always on the mirror, especially as the race progresses, just to make sure that they don't get run into or don't cut off one of these faster cars at the wrong moment, because as we saw earlier, it doesn't take much and a disaster can strike here at Spa.
Yeah, I know if you're like in the Corvette and you're coming up on a GT3, you've got to make your decision early. There's no ABS in that car. You are travelling at speed compared to the car you're catching, and you've got to make that decision early. If you become in 2 minds as you're coming up to them, it'll end pretty ugly pretty quickly.
It certainly will, and at the moment in our DP class, it's being led in qualifying by Zach Hanlon for TD Racing in the Carnet Auctions DP. He's going around to do another lap here, and he just set the fastest lap, a 2:11.381. So he's got the pace out there, and he's the only guy in the 211s at the moment. Justin Strickland is sitting in second on a 2:12.004, followed by Josh Burden in third on his fastest times, a 2:12.465. Then we have Shane Reynolds in fourth with a 2:12.561, and then your top five is Jason Bentz. Jason sitting in fifth with a 2:12.991, and he's driving that beautifully turned out Laser Racing entry.
Yeah, certainly big mix up in the times there, and quite a gaggle of cars around the 2:12.5 mark, so the racing should be really good tonight.
Oh, it certainly will be, and if we look at the times between Zach and Justin, it's only just under 3/10 of a second, so even though they're in the 2:12s, 7/10 of a second, sorry, even though they're in the 2:11s, 2:12s, it's still going to be close out there. But what would be the strategy with such a short race if you were driving in this race, let's say in a DP, and you're up the front? What would you want to do, Tim?
If you've got the pace up the front, I'd just be going for it. I'd run that first tank as low as I could before I fueled up again, and just drive it. If I was in second, third place, I'd be looking really much at trying to go with the leader and get that draft around Spa. If you can stay in that 1 to 1.5 second mark, you'll get the draft, and that's across all the classes, and just stay there and save fuel, and then try to beat them on strategy, shorter pit stops.
Yeah, and I guess you'd want to try and get a gap, wouldn't you? Break that slipstream and get that car out into clean air if you could, because there's no safety cars here tonight, folks. So if you can earn a big gap, then generally you can keep it. Where when we see safety cars, generally you'll find it's taken away from you.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you've got the speed tonight, you'd want to be making the most of it and just getting out there in clean air and just going for it. You keep away from the trouble. You get to pick when you want to pass the slower classes when you catch up too. So, the other strategy some of these boys could employ too is like if you're in the faster Corvette, you're setting really good times. As you're coming up to lap traffic, if it's in your fuel window, get the fuel in, and then you'll get another bank of fresh laps before you have to hit the traffic, whereas the other boys will be staying out there losing time, picking their way through it.
Okay, having a look at Class B at the moment, Scott Tamlin's leading the way in that class, and Scott's times are 2:15.109, and he's just sitting in the pits there with 3 minutes to go. Second in that class is Anthony Winkleman. He's a fair ways down. His fastest is a 2:15.614, but he's out there pushing that car at the moment, trying to improve that time. Third is Michael Hammond. Keep an eye on Michael. He's earlier on he was pretty much dominating this class, but lately he's been getting a bit more of a challenge from the other drivers, which is great to see. Anthony Mansorella fourth in Class B, and then rounding out your top five is Dylan Shepherd in the number 43, and it's quite interesting. All top five are Aston Martins.
Yeah, like I said, bit of a shame there. Probably some of the better talent isn't in the Corvette to give them a bit of a run, so bit of a shame there. But it is interesting to note a couple of things. There's a couple of Corvettes that haven't yet out-qualified some of the GT1 boys, and also Anthony Winkleman's got the wrong number on his car, so there could be a chance he might get an end-of-line penalty.
Well, if he gets one of those, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes threading his way through the field, because we've got a bumper field out here of around about 35 cars, so it's a great turnout.
Yeah, definitely a good field, and the good thing is too, it's a good mix between the classes. We haven't got one class that's got a heap over another, so everyone gets to have a good race against someone of their skill level. It's good to see.
Yeah, it certainly is, and at the moment Class C leading the way in qualifying. Richard Brookfield, provisional pole there on a 2:19.599. Adam Funslow is sitting in second, or as he loses it and hits the wall hard. Fortunately though, iRacing, he can get a new car, but he's not going to get back out there and improve on that time with 1:14 to go. Trent Thomas is sitting in third in his GT3, followed by Scott Stevens, who's now just coming through in fourth position. And then fifth is Matthew Mann. So Trent Thomas, he's showing a good turn of speed here again tonight.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. If you can get the setup around Spa, it's a nice track to race on. The key to Spa is not to overdrive the track. You've got to let the car flow through the corners. If you're fighting it, it'll just slow you down.
Yeah, that's one thing that is very easily to do around here is to overdrive that car, and you find that I know when I'm out there, if I'm overdriving it, I'm pushing as hard as I can, and I'm going backwards. That's normally the first clue.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's being such a long track too. You've only got to overcook one corner, and it's all over for that lap. So, and plus with the off track, you might just push a fraction too hard to get an off track, so your quali lap's gone as well. So, you know, it's hard to push a car around here, but great feeling when you get it right.
Oh, it certainly is, and I'm just having a look at our track map at the moment. And I guess the trick here is Puon, isn't it? It can be a trap because you can push hard through there, get a wide line, just run off a little bit, and you've got that off track.
You sort of got three areas where it's really easy to get it off track. The first one's up through One Rouge, either at the bottom of the hill as you turn in, or on exit up the top. Very easy to get an off track through those two corners. I think Puon's a double left-handers. Again, as you said, you come down there in fourth gear in most of the cars, and very easy just to drift with that fraction wide. And the other ones down the two right-handers before you get onto the back straight, very easy to drift wide there, trying to get the power down, get some speed going. So yeah, they just got to watch their off tracks, and just, if it was me out there, I'd just be taking it easy for the first half hour, save me off tracks, look after me car, and if I'm in a position to do something later on, well, I've got them up my sleeve to go for it.
Yeah, and it's quite a tricky track, isn't it? Because the off tracks to me feel a little bit inconsistent, where some parts of the circuit you can run really wide, and other parts you just put a wheel off and you'll get an off track.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I know down the bottom, the two right-handers down the back of the circuit, you can actually get half the car out there and nothing happens, and other parts of the track you only got to put the wheel over by an inch and you get one. So it comes down to practice, knowing the track where you can and can't push it, and those who put the effort in get the results.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it's like any motorsport, you've got to put the effort in, put the miles in, get to know the track, get to know your car, get to know how it feels in all different weather conditions and configurations, and then you're ready to go racing.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of what all the teams do on iRacing is actually understanding the cars. So if in a series like this where you turn up where it's variable weather, you don't know what the track surface is going to be like before you get here. But if you put the effort in to know your car, know how to drive it, when you turn up to a 41 degree track, you can get out there and bank laps.
Yeah, and that is a definite trap, isn't it, for some, is they may practice in the car in comfortable weather, and then they get out there and it's a hot day like today and the car is not the same.
Yeah, definitely. And the key to understanding the cars too, a lot is actually tyre pressures make a big difference in certain weather. In hotter weather, you want to run your pressures down a bit, but you don't want to go too low where the heat's going to build up too much. So it's understanding where that edge is, and then once you find that edge, it's also understanding how to drive the car. Like I said earlier, it's very easy to push the car and overheat the tyres, and they stay that way for probably 10 to 12 seconds. So if you do have a slide, you've got to be smart enough to just to get out of it, stay out of it, and let those tyres cool down before you get back into it. Many times you'll see people have a slide, have a brilliant save, catch the car, and as soon as they put their foot back on the throttle, it's all over again.
And we're just waiting for the guys to line up here. Let's start on the grid because they don't do a full lap around here and I generally get caught out. So let's quickly go through our grid. Zach Hannon will be starting on pole position, followed by Josh Burden in second. Justin Strickland will start out of third tonight. Fourth, Josh Rogers, followed by Shane Reynolds in fifth. Sixth will be David Jellings. Then we have Jason Benson seventh, followed by Ben Darley Jr. Neil De Bruin out of ninth, and 10th is TJ Brown. The first in Class B is Scott Tamlin, and he's out-qualified a couple of Class A drivers, and that is Matthew Zimmerman and Nino Natal. Then we have Michael Hammond. He's going to be sitting in there behind those two, starting out of 14th, second in class. Anthony Winkleman, 15th and third in Class B. 16th, Anthony Mansorella, followed by Dylan Shepherd. We've got Gregory Colgan in the Class A car down there in 18th as well, with quite a lot of work to do. 19th, Grant Hines, followed by Lance Hawes in 20th and outright. 21st Daniel Leet, Darren McKenzie 22nd, 23rd Brad Fernley, and then pole position is Richard Brookfield, and he's out qualified Adam Funslow, but as you can see there's a mistake because Adam is in Class C. 26 Craig Hopkins in the Chevrolet Corvette C6R. Fairways down. 27th Trent Thomas, and 3rd in Class C. Scott Stevens out of 28th. 29th Matthew Mann. 30th will be Scott Goodman. 31st Brett Hender, followed by Alexander Sheridan in 32nd, and that's our field because of course Tim is sitting up here with me and not sweating it out in the car tonight.
Yeah, no, I get a night off and get to enjoy the racing, and as I said earlier, Anthony Winkleman was given an end-of-line penalty, so watch for him to drop to the rear of the field as they take off here. Yeah,
so what will happen with that? Will he be told by race control to drop back, or will he just be expected to do that?
He's already been given a black flag for it as they roll off, so as they start to roll, he'll just have to move to one side and let the whole field go around him.
How frustrating would that be?
Oh yeah, I understand the frustration of it, but you know, they've got rules in place, and if they don't enforce the rules, there's no point having them. So yeah, it's just one of those things, and you know, next fortnight to be better prepared and ready to go.
Yeah, that's right. You live and learn, don't you? But at the moment, Zach Hanlon is starting from pole position in that Carnet Auctions car, so keep an eye on how he goes. He's got Josh Burden up there with him, and it's going to be interesting here as they come around now. Zach's already put the medal down and he's gone.
Yeah, unfortunately Josh was very slow through the chicane there and has allowed Zach to get a jump, so hopefully they all get away clean. We'll see how they go into turn one.
Yeah, well, at the moment they're coming down, it's going to be tight. There's nose to tail, there's a bit of rubbing going on there, but they're getting through, and now we can see the GT3s starting, and they gave the guys a lot of room, which is a smart move here for this team, or this class. But Trent Thomas getting out there in 3rd position at the moment, and Richard Brookfield and Adam Funslow going down. Looks like Adam's taking the lead here.
Yeah, it was actually quite funny there, Bernie. They've actually got the endurance layout on, not the Grand Prix, so the boys went early and had to back out of it while there was a bit of a back-up into turn one.
So we can see Craig Hopkins down there in 26 with a lot of work to do as we come through, but at the moment it's been a clean start. Up front though, Zach Hanlon has lost the lead to Josh Burden. Josh is just in front of him now, and then we have Josh Rogers in 3rd, 4th Justin Strickland, and then 5th is David Jellings. So it looks like the boys are definitely behaving themselves out there tonight.
Yeah, they're all trying to get away to a clean start here, Bernie. Hopefully as the next couple of laps go on, they'll all find their little rhythm and away they'll all go. So, but at this stage it's been a pretty clean start.
Yeah, it certainly has been a great start here, and I'm just trying to pick up Class B at the moment. We can see Michael Hammond there. He's sitting in 10th position outright, and I think he may be leading Class B. It's a bit hard to tell because the numbering system here doesn't coincide with the class, but Michael Hammond 10th, and 1st in Class B. Scott Tamlin, he is 2nd, so he's dropped a position as he goes wide, and that was where was he coming out? Paul Frere, I think it was. Now they're just coming down to Blanchimont, and really wide there in the Pennzoil entry.
Yeah, it's sort of a bit hard here for him at the moment. He seems to be struggling with a bit of understeer in the draft, and also they got the Corvette prototype in amongst them here, so yeah, making the racing very hard for the boys.
Yeah, and that's Nino Natali started sort of embedded in the Class B field, and he's definitely being pushed by Scott at the moment. Scott will want to clear him though, won't he, because he doesn't want to let Michael Hammond get away here.
Yeah, no, he'll want to go around as quick as he can, and we've also had a change for the lead up the front as well, Bernie. Zach's got back through.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a gap there, and Josh Rogers is also now pushing Josh Burden here, but yeah, Zach Hanlon, he's an exciting young driver, and he throws everything at these cars when he drives them. As we see Josh Rogers now just going through to push Josh Burden down to third position. So the battle started early here, but I guess it's really a sprint race. That's probably how they're going to attack this.
Yeah, if you got, like I said earlier, if you got speed, get on with it and try and break the field if you can, break that draft. But unfortunately for Zach, he's got Josh Rogers, who's a very quick sim racer, so we'll see how he goes over the next few minutes.
And we can see Anthony Winkleman, he's already up to 22nd, so he's cleared all the GT3 cars. And we know this guy's got pace, but he's got a heck of a lot of work to do, as he's now just coming down to the corner with no name. But Class C is being led by Adam Funslow, followed by Richard Brookfield in second, and we've got Nino Natal off on the inside there. So let's hope he can get that car going. Scott Stevens third, followed by Scott Goodman in KRF in fourth, and then fifth in Class C's Trent Thomas. So looks like Trent's had a bit of a bad start there. He started out a third, and he finds him down in fifth at the moment.
Yeah, the BMW, probably the first time up through En Rouge, and that would have been a bit slower on a straight line compared to those McLarens. But I think as the race goes on, especially around here, the tyre wear for him is going to be the most beneficial part of having that BMW. So I expect him and Scott Stevens to have very good finishes.
Yeah, so we normally find the McLaren start out strong, but they tend to use the tyres up a lot more and fade as the race goes on. But the BMW is quite consistent, isn't it? And it generally is far better on its tyres.
Yeah, the BMW, you can get it sent up more gently so it looks after those tyres. So, I mean, I was in a cooler room this afternoon, and with the setup I had, I could actually hold it flat up through En Rouge in the BMW, whereas the McLarens have got a lift. And by the time you got the Camel Straight, they're doing about the same speed. So, if you get your setups right, it can make a huge difference to how the race goes for you.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it also makes a huge difference on how smooth you can drive these cars, and we've seen it before in the DPs where some of the drivers are very aggressive on their tyres and they generally chew them up very quickly, and others are very smooth and they can get a lot more consistency out of the cars later on in the race. We just saw Jason Bentz there take David Jellings for fifth position, and Jason's got a bit of pace out there in the laser racing tonight.
Yeah, no, they're all starting to settle into their rhythm now, and next couple of laps I'll update the viewers with a few of the lap times the boys are pulling, just so they know who's got the pace and who hasn't. Yeah,
definitely. It's definitely needs to do that. You might need to update them on that if you've got it, because I've sort of got my hands full doing the...
No, you're right. I'm just trying to get it up now for you.
All right, no worries. But jumping back up to Class A at the moment, Zach Hanlon, he had a bit of a gap there, but Josh Rogers is not going to let him go, and he's starting to close that gap, and he's got the benefit of that slipstream, so we'll expect him to possibly make a move up Camel Straight this time round.
Yeah, as predicted, once you get the draft of these things, it's pretty easy to hang on around here. So, you know, Zach will just have to bide his time and just hope his setup's better or he gets him on the strategy. And, yeah, just don't stress too much about what's behind him, just drive the car.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. I know in the earlier rounds he really took it to them in the car, but as he got under pressure, he did tend to overdrive those tyres a bit, and he found they faded as the race went on. But he's definitely in control here at the moment. They're just coming through to complete lap 3, and they're on to lap 4 with 53 minutes to go.
Yeah, the younger drivers, as we know, there's a lot of young guys coming through with a lot of talent, and you know, they're out here learning their racecraft too. So as they get more time in the cars and more times racing, they'll learn when to push and when not to. It'll make it a lot easier for them.
I definitely will, but the thing is with these young guys, they've got the pace. It's far easier to, as they say, to take a guy with raw talent and pace and get them to look after their tyres as they get that experience, and to try to get someone who's smooth but off the pace.
Yeah, and as they come into Camel Straight there, they've actually made contact and Zach's had to go wide.
Yeah, and that's allowed Josh Burton through as well. Jason Bentz, though, no, that's Josh Rogers has slowed down, so he must have got an off track. He's dropped down to third position there.
Yeah, I dare say Josh has actually probably redressed that. He did move over on Zach a bit, so that's very good driving from Josh there.
Yeah, it's good sportsmanship, isn't it? Especially when he knows he's got to let Josh Burden through first to redress. But he has done that, and great sportsmanship. Justin Strickland is in fourth, but here comes Jason Bentz. He's already caught him, and he's on the move.
Yeah, I know Jason will have a very good race set up in his car, so he'll definitely be going for him very quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely on the prowl. They're looking at his time at 2:12.866. The fastest time at the moment was set by Neil De Bruyn, I think it was. Oh, as Jason's flying in the pits. This is a very early stop, isn't it?
It could be an early stopper. He might have a meatball from damage from off the bench. And the other thing too, Bernie, I think with the viewers, they are using the endurance layout. These pit stops are going to take forever. It's such a long way to drive down 2 pit lanes.
Yeah, especially when you've got on the pit limiter, it feels like forever before you even get to see your pit box down here at Spa tonight.
Yeah, you got to drive all the way through the first pit bay, around the corner, and then up the hill, and then you'll start actually getting into where the pit stops are. So it takes forever, it takes a long time, and you only want to do it once.
Yeah, exactly, especially in an hour race. And Michael Hammond at the moment, he's got quite a healthy lead back to Anthony Manzarella. He's already pulled out 3.8 seconds and is now on the back of Matthew Zimmerman in the DP and his teammate. And he's starting to really push these guys, as he tends to always do in this style of racing.
Yeah, no, he'll work his way through very quickly, Michael. As we said earlier, he's probably one of the gun drivers in this field in the GT1, so he's showing already his class and pulling away. I was actually surprised Scott Tamlin has been showing some great speed during the week, but he must have had trouble early. He's right back down in the field now.
Yeah, and looking at the guys that have pitted, speaking of Scott Tamlin, he's done a 16.6 second stop. Jason Bentz 18.8 seconds. Nino Natal is in the pits taking service as we speak. Just jumping on board now with Anthony Manzarella, and listen to that Aston Martin. I love the sound of that car.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing about the GT1s. You've got that nice squealing little Aston Martin motor, then you've got the big growl of the Corvette in there as well. They're two distinct cars, and great to have them both out on the track tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see what this new Mercedes GT3 sounds like. They do have a video out on it, folks. I haven't actually watched it, but I tell you what, the Audi sounds really throaty.
Yeah, I've actually listened to the Mercedes one, and yeah, it is an absolute beautiful, deep growling V8, that car, and we've now got a 3-way battle for the lead in the DPs, Bernie.
Yeah, so Josh Burden followed by Zach Hanlon. Zach's now looking. He doesn't want to make a move here. He'll tuck in and expect him to make a move out of Blanchimont here. He definitely gets that pace out of that part of the track.
Yeah, he's just got to tuck in the draft here and hope he gets a good enough run, but he's also got to watch. Josh has also got a good run here, so could be on for young and old.
Yeah, and Josh is just backing off a little bit. Where's Zach there? He's tucked in behind Josh Burden, and yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be in Zach's shoes. You're sort of the meat and the sandwich, aren't you? You're trying to defend while you're trying to attack.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a hard position to see Josh trying to make a move here on the inside. Zach should hold this on the outside, but yeah, it definitely is hard to try and figure out, do you make the move, do you block, and the whole time Josh is probably rubbing his hands together because I think both these boys behind him have got a bit more speed than him.
Yeah, we can see now Josh Rogers having another look, not the place to make it through there, and he's tucking in again, but at least they're not letting Josh Burden run away with this, and the more they fight though, the more Josh Burden will try to get that gap.
Yes, as I said, yeah, Josh Bird be loving these two boys having a bit of a rumble here behind him, but you know, hopefully soon they'll sort it out and one of them will go. Here we go, here comes Josh on the inside now, should be able to make this one stick.
I don't know, Zach's fighting him too wide.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go up the back straight here too wide, but one of them will have to get out of it before we get to the king.
looks like Josh Rogers, he might have been a bit surprised by that move, but that was great driving by the two of them. And I don't know how Zach managed to keep that car stuck on the outside through there.
Yeah, no, like I said, he is a great talent, and but that comes down to both drivers. They both gave each other room and respected each other, and if people do that, you can actually have good battles like that on track.
Yeah, it's all about the respect and the trust, isn't it? Knowing that the guy next to you is going to give you that room, and they'll fight you hard, but they generally fight clean, don't they?
Yeah, that's why we turn up here. You want to have a great battle, you want to enjoy your racing, and you just hope the bloke next to you is of the same mindset. And, you know, if the move's on, there's room there, and Zach's had a moment going through on Rouge at the top.
Yeah, he gets so much speed through there. We were watching him from Josh Rogers' roof cam before, and he just is so aggressive through that part. But here comes Josh Rogers again, and he made a clean move this time. Up to second, Zach's down into third, but keep an eye also, because we've got Justin Strickland starting to jump on the back of this pack, so it won't be long if these two fight before it'll be a three-way battle here in Class A. Looking at Class B, Michael Hammond, he's just running away with this at the moment, and just trying to get a gap. Back to TJ Brown. He's got 2.8 seconds to TJ Brown in Class A, and then Anthony Mansarella is behind TJ Brown, so he's got at least a 3-second gap at the moment.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised with how quick the GT1 spread out tonight. I thought with the qualifying times they'd be a lot closer, but I got a feeling something might have happened earlier, like with Scott Tamlin's dropped right down and a couple other names, so maybe something happened there that we missed and spread them out a bit, but they seem to be all trying to get back into it now.
Yeah, and Dylan Shepherd's recovering. He's in third, starting to put the pressure here on Anthony Mansarella, and they're having a great battle as well. And then just down the track from them is Grant Hines, so the field is shuffled a little bit, but I tell you what, that speedcafe.com car looks brilliant out there, as do a lot of these cars. They're the teams are definitely putting in a huge effort, aren't they, into the presentation?
Oh yeah, I think especially this year we've seen it already, that a lot of the teams now are putting a lot more effort into their paintworks, and you know, they just look so good on track, and it just brings our whole racing to life even just that little bit more with the amount of effort they're putting into just their driving and their setups as well as their paint.
Yeah, and it's really showing how serious the guys at the top of their game and in the top teams, how serious they take their motorsport. It's just like real world. They put in the hours, they look at the setups. These cars are just as complicated to set up as their real life counterparts, aren't they, Tim?
Yes, and you can put hours into it, go forwards, go backwards, and yeah, another 2 hours you end up back to where you were 3 hours ago, but it's great fun doing it once you get the hang of it, and you know, that's where I get a lot of my joy out of racing at the moment, is actually in building the setups and having drivers tell me what they want, as Josh is now having a look on Josh for the lead.
And also Richard Brookfield has just taken the lead in Class C. He's just passed Adam Funslow, so these guys are also battling. But let's jump back up the front, folks, as we have out front now Josh Rogers, followed by Josh Burden, and then Zach Hanlon. They've managed to drop Justin Strickland off as well.
Yeah, the last lap they settled down and played follow the leader, and the speed was back, so now Zach has to try and clear Josh as quick as he can and get back onto Josh Rogers there in front of him, get around Josh Burden and get back into the groove.
Yeah, definitely get into that groove and just keep on going with 43 minutes to go. And this is an interesting tactic they're using here. We see it a lot in these skippy races with the European drivers, where they put the pressure on lap after lap, and you can see they're just trying to pare down the field, so they've got the podium guys way out front battling. Once they've got that gap, then they start getting serious about who's going to be on what step of the podium.
Yeah, definitely. That's the way to do it, is just take your time, and if you're in with a couple of fast boys, just go with them. You know you're not going to get a hassle from behind, but I think Zach's going to have to try and get around Burden here as quick as he can. He is holding him up, and Josh Rogers is starting to pull away a bit.
Yeah, and Josh Rogers just set the fastest lap at 2:12.413. Oh, as Josh Burden slides, and that's released Zach.
Yeah, that'll heat his tyres up, yeah. So Josh will have to be careful up through on Rouge this time. If he pushes it too hard, it will let go on him.
Certainly will, because those tyres will be in recovery mode, so to speak, won't they?
Yeah, no, he's done a good job there. So yeah, we'll see how he goes. Looks like he might get a bit of a run on Zach here.
Yes, Josh Burden on the outside, Zach on the inside going defensive. As they come through Lacoombs, who's it going to be first? It looks like it could be Zach. Tell you what, Tim, whenever I see two cars enter that part of the track, I always have flashbacks to Hamilton in the Formula One, you know, when the one when he's going, he hit me.
Yeah, it's very hard. You've got that quick flick to the right and then straight back to the left. So you very quickly go from being on the inside to the outside. You just got to hope both drivers are aware of it.
As we jump on board now with Josh Burden sitting in third, and we'll stay with him for a bit. Sorry, the steering wheel is not moving, folks. It's just a glitch with iRacing, I'm sure of it. It only tends to freeze in multi-class racing, so who knows what is causing that.
Well, hopefully with the improvements they got coming in a week's time in the new build, hopefully a lot of that will sort itself out.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the next build. The iRacing through the week, folks. They mentioned what we're to look forward to, and it's all about cars. And we'll put a little share up on our Facebook page if you want more information. But in short, we're looking forward to 4 cars joining us in the 8th of March. That's the Formula Renault, the Mercedes and Audi GT3s, and the Mazda MX-5. What's that? The 2016 build, I think.
Yeah, that's the latest model coming out, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes too, actually. That might pick a bit of the participation back up. The old Mazda's been around quite a while. It'd be good to have a refresh and an update.
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be easier to drive. You know, the old MX-5, I could for the life of me never work out the gears in that silly car. I gave up on it, but the other thing some guys are pretty excited about is the flashing headlights and the Mercedes. The question's going to be with that, are all the GT3s going to have the flashing headlights, or is it going to be just the new cars and they'll phase that in down the track?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd imagine all the 4 GT3 cars are staying should be updated to have them. So, yeah, you'll probably need to have sunglasses racing for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, because everyone's going to be just going around flashing. I'm just glad we don't have a horn on these cars, or else that would just be too noisy for my liking.
Yes, they'd definitely be getting used.
Yeah, and the other news, folks, while we're talking a bit about the new update, is the early morning, late afternoon, I guess light boxes you could call them. They're going to be, it's not dynamic weather, that's for sure, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I guess that's their first lead into hopefully getting day-night transitions, Bernie. So hopefully by the end of the year, with the initial work they've done, we'll be able to do a 24-hour race and have the actual weather and the lighting change. And I'm actually looking forward to that. As I said, I'm sort of into the car setup side of things, and you know, you'll be chasing your car during the night and then chasing again during the day. So it'll bring a whole new element to the racing that we do.
Oh, it certainly will, and if you can sync it. Let's say we're doing a 24-hour and it's day outside and day on the sim, and then night outside, night on the sim. That'd be pretty special. And I guess the other big building block on that is the DX11 graphics engine is also being released on the March the 8th. iRacing has stressed it's an alpha. They're treating it as an alpha type build, so you can expect it to have its own little glitches, but by the end of the year that's going to have completely replaced the DX9 graphics engine.
Yes, and I know a lot of us with these newer graphics cards will be grateful for that, because they are designed to run the higher end DX models, so it should take the load off our processors, which will be great. And yeah, the leaders have started to settle down. Now last lap Josh Rogers and Zach Hanlon were only 0.1 of a second apart. Josh Burden was about 0.3 slower, so now Zach has cleared. He is off and running again.
Yeah, and in Class B, the gap between Michael Hammond, TJ Brown, just having a look at that gap. It's all a bit mixed up at the moment. And 8.5 seconds from Michael Hammond back to Anthony Mansorella. So Michael's built up quite a good buffer here, and right behind Anthony though is Dylan Shepherd. He still can't get past him, and they've been battling now for the last at least 4 laps around here.
Yeah, no, both those boys are doing a great job and they're having a great battle. It's just a shame that while they're battling, Michael's just pulling out that bit further every lap.
Well, that's right, and once you get a huge gap like that, it's really hard to get it back in unless these guys work together. You can see now Dylan is tucked up behind Anthony. He's not really going to make a move. He's thinking about it now as he pulls out at the end of the straight, too wide. And I tell you what, that was close coming into Lacoombs, but Anthony Mansorella is still leading Dylan Shepherd here for second and third.
Yeah, the big difference between these GT1s and the GT3s is the draft effect that you get in a straight line isn't as bad or isn't as great as the draft effect you get in something like a GT3. So to pull that move down the straight, you've got to get a really good run through on Rouge and be as close as you can to be able to get up there far enough. And at the moment, Dylan just can't quite get that.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the pace, does he? Or that's the feeling I've got. He just doesn't seem to have the raw speed that he needs to get past Anthony at this point.
I think they're just both equal on pace, Bernie, and like I said, you've got to have that bit extra to be able to pull that move off, and just hasn't been able to quite get it.
And then let's have a look at our GT3s, and as always, Richard Brookfield, he's fighting it out here with Adam Funslow. Adam's not letting him go, and this is another great battle in this class at the moment.
Yeah, she got 2 very good drivers here, and yeah, they'll be there till the end. And you know, we haven't got Scott Stevens and Trent Thomas that far behind these boys, so I am expecting them to, as the race goes on, to be able to start closing that gap up, probably from somewhere around the 40-minute mark. The lap times on the BMW won't slow down as much as it will on the McLaren, and they'll be able to start reeling them in. I know we did the GT3 race on Sunday in the Ford. The early speed for the first 25 minutes in the McLaren was too quick, but as their tyres went off, I was able to reel them in quite quickly.
Yeah, and you were really competitive in that Ford as well, which was great to see. And the gap back to Scott Stevens from Adam, 4 seconds at the moment, but as you said, Tim, once the tyres on these cars go off, we can expect the BMWs of Scott Stevens and Trent Thomas, 4th in Class C, to start reeling them in, as you just said.
Yeah, like I said, their tyre wear is going to be better over the distance. I think, like with the refueling, it takes about the same amount of time. So if these boys just being just a little bit gentler on the accelerator pedal, they'll actually be able to save time in the pits. And I dare say by the end of the race, we could end up with a pretty good battle with at least 3 or 4 cars there, hopefully.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. And it generally does go that way, doesn't it, with a lot of these? They tend to close up over the course of the race. And the other thing is, while Richard and Adam are fighting here, they're both using their tyres, and that's going to play into their hands even more with Scott Stevens back there in 3rd position.
Yes, certainly. Just an update up the front too, Bernie. Zach has now got the gap down to 1.7 seconds again, so he's now back in the draft and starting to reel Rogers in. So looks like we might get a really good battle there, shaping up towards the end of the race as well.
Yeah, and Josh Burton's dropped quite a ways off, hasn't he? He's over 2 seconds now back from Zach, so I'm wondering if something occurred between those two.
I think it's just the 2 up the front have got the pace, Bernie. You know, Josh last lap was a 2:13.2. Both Joshua Rogers and Zach Hanlon were both mid-2:12, so they're over half a second quicker than Josh. Now he's lost the draft. He's just going to sit tight and hope for a mistake or maybe a bit of better fuel economy to get back into it.
Yeah, and he may also try to get his team to help him out with some sort of pit strategy and try to recoup it there. Justin Strickland's just gone past one of the Blackadder GT3s there, and in the Takata number 8, and he's 4th at the moment. He's 7.3 seconds down from the leader in Class A at this stage.
You know, Justin's doing a good job there, just hasn't quite got the pace of these front 3, so we'll see how he goes over the course of the race. And yeah, it's now's when it gets interesting with the traffic, so like we can see Zach now getting held up here by a GT3 car, and that's just this style of racing. And you know, you got swings and roundabouts. So we'll have to see how they go through the traffic and see who gets a better run.
Yeah, and that's one of the... Just wondering if that's Richard Brookfield. No, it's not. They're still further. So that's Richard's teammate. I got a bit confused there. Looking at the guys that have stopped so far, folks, we've got TJ Brown being serviced at the moment, but Jason Bentz has made a pit stop, 18.8 seconds, sitting in 14th. As the pits come through, expect him to funnel up through the field. Jason Bentz, 12.8 seconds was his stop in the XY Gaming number 15. Scott Tamlin's also made a very early stop, and we suspect something happened to him earlier on, and his stop was 16.6 seconds. Lance Hawes did a 3.1 second, so he's down there in 27th, so no doubt that's in fast repair type territory there. Scott Goodman, 26.7 seconds in the other KRF entry, sitting in 28th, so it sounds like he might have even taken tyres. Craig Hopkins in the Corvette C6R, he's having a bit of a torrid time out there. He's running 29th, and it looks like he's had to have that car possibly towed at some point. He's one lap down at the moment, and that's unfortunate. Our retirements at the moment, folks, we've lost Louise, as we see one of the XY Gaming cars almost into the fence. Louise Gallen has retired from tonight's race, so has Nino Natal. Ben Darley Jr.'s retired, and Brett Hender has also retired from tonight.
And we've had the two leaders in the race, actually, Josh Rogers and Joshua Burton pit last lap. Zach's still out.
Be interesting now to see what Zach does. They're pretty much stopping on the 50% mark, aren't they? With an hour race, 30 minutes to go. But I guess, you know, if he's pitting behind these guys, he might actually be able to see what sort of pit time they do, depending if he's got someone there spotting for him, of course.
Yeah, no, he's on his own tonight there, Bernie, but I think, like I said earlier, he might be just trying to get onto a lower fuel. If his tyres are still feeling all right, he'll be able to get crack some quick laps with low fuel load. So it's all a strategy game, as I said earlier. They've decided to pit halfway, which is pretty much the sensible strategy to do to get the best out of both set of tyres. I know with our team we do a lot of the longer distance racing, so a lot of our setups will go longer than that half hour mark with pace, so maybe Zach's trying to take advantage of that.
Yeah, the pit times was 17.6 seconds for Josh Rogers, followed by 17.2 seconds Josh Burton, so Josh made up 0.4 of a second there. And we've also got Shane Reynolds in the pits as we speak. Let's see what Zach's doing. He's coming in.
Yeah, he's responded there to what the other boys have done, so he's decided, yes, to get in, get tyres, and hopefully he'll come out right with them. We'll see how he goes.
Yeah, because unlike the other two classes, these guys can throw tyres on without too much penalty, especially compared to the GT3, so I guess he's reacting to make sure they don't get some sort of undercut advantage with new tyres.
Basically, yeah, Bernie. The other boys have got fresh rubber on now, so they'll, yeah, like Josh Rogers, be able to get straight back into the 212s, or he's running into the fence there, but hopefully he's got a quick repair to fix that.
So who was that? Zach ran it into the fence, did he?
Yeah, between the two pit bays, it's a really tight corner there. You've got to slow down for it, but I guess he decided not to, and yeah, bent the front of the car.
Yeah, that's deceiving, isn't it? I've seen some guys hit that wall so hard it's actually throwing the car across the top of the wall and back onto the track.
Yeah, I mean, in the GT3s and that, you can just about get away with taking it at the pit lane speed limiter, but in these wider cars, there's no way in the world. You've actually got to back right down to get around that corner. It's very tight.
And now we've just got Josh Rogers coming around the final corner, and he's coming down. Where is Zach Hanlon? Zach is still in the pit, so he's going to lose out here.
Zach's away now, Bernie.
Okay, and we just saw Josh Rogers go flying past through Blanchimont there. Zachary Hanlon is still coming out. Where's Josh Burton? Here comes Josh.
Yeah, Josh has actually must have made a mistake on that lap. He's lost an amazing amount of time there compared to the other two.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh Rogers was the winner out of that, wasn't he? He's got a bit of a gap building now.
Yeah, he's actually done really well. He's probably had a really good in and out lap there before his pit stop and made the most of it. And he's now got a really good gap that'll get him. It's now 5 seconds. It was down to 1.5 when he pitted. So Josh has done an amazing job there in the pits. So we'll just have to see how he goes and hope he put enough fuel in.
Yeah, well, 27 minutes to go. We're going to find out soon. But Zach Hanlon's pit stop, 18.4 seconds. He's the slowest out of the top three there. Dylan Shepherd's also in the pits as we speak in Class B. Matthew Hammond, he did an 18.7 second stop, and he's clearing out here in this class at this stage. The guys that haven't stopped in Class B, Anthony Mansarella, he's currently leading that class, but he has to stop, and then we'd expect Michael to take that lead back. And Brad Fernley, we haven't seen much of Brad tonight, but his car is beautifully turned out, and he's definitely having a good run here tonight.
Yeah, no, it's good to see him turn up, and he's putting his best foot forward tonight for sure, Bernie.
And then we tend to try not to forget our guys down in GT3, but there seems to be a lot of action going on, but this battle is still continuing between Adam Funslow and Richard Brookfield. They've been battling pretty much since the start of this race, and it hasn't let up here. Having a look at the gap back to Scott Stevens is 3.7 seconds. So Scott's just starting to reel him in a little bit, and they've got the number 3, and that is, let's get the name of that driver. That's Shane Reynolds coming through after his pit stop. So the GT3 guys, they have not stopped yet, the top 3. So we can expect them to be coming in shortly. But as Shane Reynolds goes past Adam Funslow, he's spread them out a little bit here.
Yeah, like I said, very hard with the traffic. It swings and roundabouts for these boys. So one lap you might gain, and then the next lap you'll lose, and at the end of the race it all works out. But I expect Adam to make that gap up pretty quick there, back up to Richard. He'll have the draft. So, and Scott Stevens isn't that far behind him, so I've still got my eye on him to get up with these boys before the end of this.
Yeah, and he had to go pretty wide down there through where was it? I'm getting so mixed up on this. Through Blanchimont, he had to go wide to let the other guys through, but he pushes that car every inch, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him up here battling at the end of this race in the next 24 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. As far as the names on this track, I can't speak Belgium, so I don't even bother burning.
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen here, but my map's upside down, so I call things like Eau Rouge, Blanchimont, and vice versa, so most people just ignore me.
Yeah, it's very hard to keep up with the names on this track, so yeah.
As you can see there, Scott Stevens, he just passed one of the GT1 drivers coming up the back of Kemmel Straight here, and, so he's definitely pushing it.
Yeah, no, Scott's there. He's just trying to pick his way through and get his way back up. But like I said, I expect with this tyre wear for him just to slowly chip away at this and get it done. Just very hard for Scott here, where he's caught up with the fast cars trying to come through. He's trying to hold his line and do the right thing, and you just got to hope they get on a straight here shortly, and the Aston can just zip around him and doesn't cost him any time.
Yeah, that's Grant Hines trying to get past him at the moment, and but now that they're coming down to the tighter sections, you can see the BMW pretty much comes into its own, doesn't it? In these under these heavy braking and tighter corners.
Yeah, the little beam is good in the corners and it's good under brakes, so he will struggle. But as soon as we get hopefully around this corner or onto the back straight, he'll be able to disappear very quickly. Yeah, Grant really is struggling to try and get him here through these corners. You just see the BMW on the brakes and on turning, just that little bit better even with the extra tyres that Aston's got. But he should wind it up here past Scott, no worries at all.
As he puts the foot down, and this is what both drivers want, don't they? They want, Grant wants to get past, and Scott's just saying, clear me and let me get on with my racing.
Yeah, definitely. The sooner they get around, the better it is for Scotty. Get back into his rhythm and settle down and just enjoy what he's doing.
You can also try and get a bit of that toe to help him pull himself up. onto the back of the other two guys up front here. Having a look at that gap, Scott Stevens, well, my gap's all over the place, so we won't do that. And we've got the two leaders in, Richard Brookfield, Adam Funslow. They're coming in together, so this is going to be a battle of the pit stops tonight.
Yeah, well, technically Adam should be a little bit quicker. He was following Richard for quite a while, but I think Richard got a bit of a gap there as they went into the pits, so we'll just see how they go. But nose to tail, it will be interesting to see who's used the most fuel out of these two cars.
Yeah, and this is where Adam's going to really want to try to jump Richard in the pits, because these guys are pretty much inseparable on the track, and it's going to be far easier if he can somehow do this stop quicker as they both come in now. We'll keep an eye on these stops.
I can report too, while you're watching that, Bernie, that in the last lap Zach's actually wound the car up and he was a second quicker than Josh Rogers, so looks like it might have a fight towards the end of the race after all.
Yeah, and these pit stops, you would not believe it, they pretty much came in identically, left identically. Richard Brookfield stopped 10.7 seconds. Adam Funslow 10.2 seconds, but it still wasn't enough for him to clear Richard, and they go back out nose to tail as they came in.
Yeah, Adam's just got to bide his time here behind Richard and just see how he goes, and hopefully somewhere towards the end of the race he'll be able to make a move. But the other problem with these GT3 cars too, if you do get caught sitting behind another car for long periods of time, it can get a bit of extra heat soak into those front tyres, and also with the aero push that they tend to get. So it's easy to catch someone sometimes, but a lot harder to get around him. You've really got to pick the right time to do it. He nearly went in the back of him there.
Yeah, he certainly did. And he's also got one of the faster cars behind him again. And again, watching earlier, as they nearly collect, Richard tends to be better at picking the time to allow these cars through. As you can see now, he is running wide. It's going to cost him a bit. But last time he was actually holding his line, where Adam was forced to slow down and go a bit wider than he would have liked.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part of multi-class racing, is actually not the people in your class. It's being able to race and let the traffic through, knowing when to push, when not to, when to get out of it, and letting cars through without costing you time. And the guys that get that better end up doing better in the races.
We've got Scott Stevens now has come into the pits. He's going to want a fast one, and if he's going to try and close that gap, and he's got to beat 10.2 seconds at least to close this gap up on these two front guys. And Richard's now just coming into the chicane, and it's such a long pit straight that Scott's probably just pulling up now.
Yeah, it certainly takes forever to get down this pit lane, and you, as a driver, you're sitting there and you just want to go, but you've just got to hold it. You don't want to get a drive-through penalty for speeding. That's 15 seconds you don't need. So it's just really got to be really patient, but very frustrating at the same time.
And he's on his way out. He's just at the end of the pit lane now, and Richard and Adam's through. So Scott is just coming out, and he can see them, but it takes a bit of time on that exit to get these cars up to speed, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a hard exit there. You're trying to go left and right and left as you come out. There's a bit of a wobble in the actual pit exit, and then yeah, you're just trying to wind it back up the straight. But I know Scott now, he'll be getting his just back into his rhythm, hitting his marks, and like I said, hopefully tyre wear and a bit of traffic might help getting back up there to these boys, and he'll put on a show at the end.
Yeah, well, he's running out of time. He's got 18 minutes left here. But Trent Thomas also doing a great job in the Quick Beds Com entry. He's still fourth in class at the moment behind Scott Stevens here. Scott Goodman is fifth in class, so Scott's also having a good run in the KRF BMW tonight.
Yeah, good to see Scott out having a run and doing really well. You know, he's a good solid driver. He'll finish every race and just picks his time. It's great to see him out giving it a crack. Yeah,
definitely, and it's good to see him having a good run here, as you just said. But let's get back up to Class A. At the moment, who have we got here? A bit of a gap though, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's sort of up and down, like last lap Zach took another 0.3 out of him, but I don't think he's going to have enough time at the end of the race. He's going to need Josh to make a mistake to be able to make up that.
Josh Rogers is leading. He's got quite
that scorching pit that Joshua had that Zach didn't, so but you know, he'll fight his way and keep going, but they've really cleared out from Josh Burden and Justin Strickland now, so yeah, the race is sort of open right at the front now.
Oh, it certainly has. That gap is 4.5 seconds from Josh back to Zach, and then Zach's got 6 seconds back to the other Josh. So he's in a bit of no man's land here, but one thing that may play to his advantage is traffic. And if Josh Rogers catches the traffic at the wrong time, that he could start reeling him in again.
Yeah, definitely. Like Josh is out there, he's setting the pace. Last lap, Josh and Zach are identical again, but again they're over half a second quicker than Josh Burden behind them. So actually Justin Strickland was half a second quicker last lap too. So I don't think he's got enough time to get up on the podium, but it's good to see him still putting out those consistent 2:13 lap times this late in the race.
Yeah, well, he's about 16 seconds down from the leader, but only 6 seconds down from Josh Burden, so he's still got potential of trying to get that last step on the podium.
Yes, definitely, but as you look at it now, Bernie, I think most of the action we're going to have towards the end is going to definitely be in Class C tonight, with Richard and Adam still having a cracking battle, and like I said, hopefully Scott will start reeling them in if we're lucky, and we'll get a three-way battle to the end.
Yeah, they definitely put on the action for us, don't they, in Class C, and these guys are really having a great battle, and hopefully the viewers out there are enjoying it.
Yeah, they're both quick drivers, but they're both very clean drivers, and like they've been at it now for nearly 50 minutes here, racing each other, haven't touched, and just enjoying their driving. It's a pleasure to watch them go about their business.
It certainly is, and we've got to keep an eye on Scott Stevens at the moment. That gap is 3.8 seconds. He's actually closing a lot as they go through the campus area here, which we'd expect them to do, because this is where the BMW comes into its own. It's probably losing, though, up that big long Camel Straight.
Yeah, like I said earlier, Bernie, if you can get your setup in the BMW right, you can actually go through on Rouge a lot quicker than you can in a McLaren. So if your setup's right, by the time you get to the end of Camel Straight, you're doing the same speed as the McLaren because you didn't drop that much speed through on Rouge. So yeah, it comes down to driver setup and how the drivers feel behind the wheel. So, you know, ultimately straight out speed's not everything. So, but you know, I think Scott should have a crack here at least getting up to these boys.
Yeah, well, the gap now is down to 3.5 seconds, so he has gained quite a lot this time by, but now it's just starting to stretch out again, which it will do. It's going to go up and down as these drivers get to different parts of the track.
Yeah, well, GT3s, each car has its own strengths and weaknesses. We know the McLaren's good in the straight line and the BMW is good in the corners, so yes, Scott's just got to maximise the advantages in the corners and minimise deficit in the straight, which is never easy to do.
No, it definitely isn't. And you can see now we're just riding on the roof with Adam Funslow here. He's getting the draft, he's having a look, but he's thinking twice about it as they come to the end of Camel Straight.
Yeah, it's getting close to having a crack time now for Adam there, so he's starting to think about where he can do it, and you know, that's the sign of a good driver. They'll spend 2, 3, 4 laps behind another car and just figure out where their weakness is, and then they'll make their move. They won't just shove it in there and hope for the best. So he's been planning this for a while. We'll see if he can get it done.
Yeah, and you could see there, you could tell by the body language, he just moved the car over an inch and then tucked in, and Richard did the same thing and tucked back. So you could see Richard watching him in the mirror there and thinking, is he coming now or not?
Yeah, I've just been watching these last couple of laps too. The cars are starting to get a little bit twitchier than what they were earlier, so you can see when they get on the power and putting them into corners, they're starting to move around a bit. So Scott behind will be looking at this and thinking, yes, boys.
Yeah, well, he can see them, and they're not that far ahead of him, I tell you. He can see them now, and really, once a driver can see his quarry, he tends to get a little bit faster, doesn't he?
Yeah, once you see your quarry and you actually see you starting to catch him, you really focus in and you really start putting in some cracking lap times, and that's what Scott will be doing now. He'll actually be seeing on his relative screen that he's starting to wind these boys in, and if these two can start battling, he'll be on them in no time.
That's exactly what he wants to see as well, as these two close and battling. It's going to make his job so much more easy to catch these guys, and if he does catch them, it's going to be on, and it'll be interesting to see what he can do once he catches them.
Yeah, I was just watching then. I've noticed Adam's a lot quicker going into the bus stop. If I was him, that's what I'd be trying to set Richard up for a move, is get a good run through the two right-handers at the back of the circuit there, up the back straight, keep nice and close to the kink and go underneath into the bus stop.
As we jump on board now with Adam Funslow as we come down, getting tidy, through Eau Rouge Radion and up onto Camel Straight here.
As you can see, Adam's just a little bit too far away to do it there, even with the drafting. He's showing him his nose, he's keeping him interested, but I think Richard knows he's too far back to do anything there.
Yeah, it's the move can't come there. He's just... he's not really capitalising, but look at him close up here through Lacoombs, as Richard may have got a bit of a messy entry there.
Yeah, I think Richard's starting to struggle on the brakes, especially on the front end. The car's becoming very twitchy and starting to push wide, so yeah, Adam's just got to bide his time, keep the pressure on him. Like I said, I reckon into the bus stop, his car's better under brakes, that's where to do it.
Yeah, so we'll see if he starts thinking about making that move where you're calling it to him. Meanwhile, up front, guys, Josh Rogers is still leading Zach Hanlon. The gap is 5.3 seconds, and then Josh Burden is in third. He's 7 seconds down from Zach Hanlon. Justin Strickland fourth, 7 seconds again down from Josh Burden. Oh, as we see Adam Funslow now getting real close.
Yeah, Richard made a mistake under brakes there again. Like I said, he's struggling trying to get the car into the corner now, and Adam's getting a good run out. This could be the lap where he goes for it.
Yeah, 10 minutes to go. I guess, you know, it comes down to how early do you want to make that move, and I guess he wants to, if he can get past, he might want to do it as a test just to see what Richard has up his sleeve, sitting in second position.
I think the way the cars are handling it, it's now, I'd be going for it. He's got the speed to be able to pull away from Richard. If he gets around Richard, I don't think Richard will be able to have enough on that front end tyres. You see coming into the bus stop again, he's really wide. So yeah, if I was Adam, I'd be looking for the move and getting it done and just clearing out.
Yeah, and you can just see Adam's getting a better line as he's trying to weave all over the back of him. I'm not sure what he's saying to him. Is that, which way you going, mate?
Oh, that's just mind games for you.
Yeah, that's some big mind games. Oh, he's lost it.
Around. Oh, what a shame.
Oh dear, that's not what we want to see, is it?
Yeah, I think he might have wiggled one too often there, Bernie.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's dropped down to third, but he's got a lot of front end damage, hasn't he, on that car, and we know that can affect your top end speed.
Yeah, he will struggle in a straight line now, so yeah, no, Scott's there, got him up to second. I don't think Trent's going to be close enough to catch him, though. We only got 6 minutes left, so yeah, unfortunately, Trent's got a bit of front end damage too, so I don't see him catching up to Adam, but just a shame that battle had to end the way it did.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy in these McLarens to gas it up and lose that back end, and I think that's what's happened to him.
Yeah, they're not too bad out of a corner normally, but if you've got a little bit of lock on the wheel there as you're trying to gas it in any car, be it a prototype, an Aston Martin or a GT3, if you've got any lock on the wheel while you're trying to put that power in, you've got to feed it in, or any of these cars will snap very quickly on you.
Yeah, they certainly do, and the McLaren also snaps if you get the wheel up there on the ripple strips. They don't like that one bit. But it's going to be interesting now to see what Adam can do with Scott, if he's actually got enough aero and enough speed to try to get back on second on the podium. But at the moment, Scott's got his measure.
Yeah, what Adam will have to do here, carrying that front end damage, he's going to have to get in the drafty behind Scott. And that'll minimise the effect of the damage. The problem he's going to have is if he pulls out of the draft to make a move, I don't think he's going to be able to keep carrying it through. I think once he gets out in the fresh air there, it'll catch that bent panel work and slow him down too much to be able to pull around Scott.
And as we come down to Camel Straight, folks, we'll give you a call on their top speeds in this class, just to see how much Adam's losing. But at the moment, Scott Stevens is carrying a good 5 kilometres an hour faster as they come into the chicane.
Well, I was out doing some testing this afternoon. Like I said, I was able to get my BMW up to 253 at the end of Camel Straight, and the other McLaren that was in the room at the same time was doing the same speed. So just because I was able to hold that speed through on Rouge. But it'd be interesting to see what these two can do here now.
Yeah, so they'll be winding it up now as they come into Eau Rouge. They're doing, at the moment, 2:24 for Scott Stevens. And let's see, Richard Brookfield now coming down Camel Straight, 2:48, 51, 53, 54, 55. So 55, then Scott Stevens 52, Adam Funslow 52.
No, well, it wasn't too far off to be 253 then.
No, you average it out and it's around about the 253, so that's pretty close, isn't it? 252 to 253. But let's go through up front a bit, folks, and have a look at our race leader in heavy traffic here as he just winds past Scott Goodman. So first, Josh Rogers. The gap now is 5 seconds down to Zach Hamlin, and Zach can see him. He just can't close that gap at this point. And then we have Josh Burden in third, 14.6 seconds down. And these guys are well spread out, aren't they? Fourth, we have Justin Strickland. He's just sitting behind a GT1 at the moment, trying to clear that car. And I think that's one of the ERA entries. It might be Anthony Mansorella.
Yeah, last lap, Bernie, Josh and Zach did the exact same time, basically, and Joshua Burden, again, was half a second slower than them two, so pretty much what we've seen all races holding true now, that Zach and Josh Rogers have had the speed, and, yeah, Josh Burden just hasn't quite had the pace tonight to go with them.
Yeah, and once they spread out like that, it's a relief for the drivers, isn't it, I guess? But as a driver, if you're in second, I know if I'm in second and there's a big gap, I'm always hungry to try to get to first, but there gets to a point where you look at the clock and you just go, let's settle for second.
Yes, as far as Zach in the car now, the same with Josh Burden back there in third. I'd be happy where I am, and I'd just roll around, minimise the mistakes and just finish it off. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to get in that zone where you take it easy. Sometimes you're better off pushing, the concentration stays higher. So, but yeah, hopefully the boys can now settle down to where they are and bring it home.
Yeah, and second at the moment in Class B, Dylan Shepherd. So he has managed to get that car up to second. I've forgotten who he was battling. He was battling with Anthony Mansorella, wasn't he?
Yes, he certainly was, and Anthony's now a lap down, so maybe Anthony's running into trouble there somewhere, I dare say, by the looks of that, Bernie.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way, doesn't it? I'm just having a look at our events to see if we can find out what did happen to Anthony here, as we've got just under the 4 minute mark till the end of this race. So they're really only going to get a couple of laps in here, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think the battle we're going to have towards the end of this race here, Bernie, is actually Anthony Winkleman, who got the end of line start penalty. He's only 2 seconds behind Grant Hines. So if we can get another 2 laps, which I doubt, I think we'll only probably get one more after this, it could be a good battle between them two to the end of the race.
Yeah, that's a really good recovery drive, isn't it, for Anthony, considering he had to start at the end of the field and he only had an hour to get this car here, and he's now battling for, third? I think he's battling third in class.
That's correct, yeah. If he can get it, Grant Hines is currently sitting third, but there's not much of a gap back to Anthony, and given the pace he's showing to get where he is, he'll be pushing for that final podium spot.
You can definitely see it as he came out of Lacombe's there. You could just see the way that car had a very slight slide to the rear wheels there as he got maximum traction on the exit of that, and I think he's going to catch him.
It's looking like it. He's reeling it in quite quickly here at the moment, so if he can get that draft, we haven't had the white flag come out yet, so hopefully they'll get another lap. If they do, it'll be an interesting showdown to the end.
It certainly will. will be at that, and we're riding with Anthony at the moment in the number 96, and yeah, it'll be great to see where these two finish up in this race tonight.
Actually, it could be interesting. You've got Josh Rogers, the leader, coming up behind him with time expired now. He should get the checkered flag when he crosses the line. So if he gets past either one of these, the race will be over for one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 minutes still on the overlays here, and so we haven't got the white flag out yet, so I think he's going to come through and then they'll have another lap here.
Oh yeah, you're right, Bernie. So I was looking at the elapsed time and that didn't take into account the bit under safety car. So yeah, they'll have another lap to fight it out.
So now Josh Rogers is coming up on the back of Winkleman here, and you know, when you're battling for third on the podium, you don't want to see one of the faster cars coming through, and if you do, you just hope he messes the other guy up and not you.
Yeah, in some ways it's good too. Like Anthony's managed to get in behind Josh here without losing any time. He'll actually be able to use that draft to get even closer up to Grant now.
Yeah, you're right. And it'll be interesting to see if Josh clears Grant before they come into Lacoombs. He's having a look on the inside now. Yeah, he should clear him. But the real battle here is Winkleman, who's got within probably, 4 car lengths.
Yeah, as you see, every corner he just gets that bit closer. So interested to see now if he can just get the final move done when he gets onto the back of him.
He's got it smoking in the back. He's definitely pushing this car tonight.
He's fighting for it. He definitely, he can smell that podium. He's trying as hard as he can to get there, and looks like Grant might have got caught up here behind a slower prototype car, so this might help Anthony out a bit.
Yeah, and we've also got Zach Hanlon coming up to get past these guys as well, and he's sitting in second. But you're right, the what number is that? The number 6 is holding him up a little bit, and that's Gregory Colgan.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we've got about 5 seconds to go, so as soon as that's up, the white flag will come out. Because these boys are behind the leader, he's got half a lap to get the job done.
Yeah, exactly right, and the white flag's out now. Where's our race leader? He's just coming down now through Blanchimont, so this should be our last lap.
Yeah, no, Bernie, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, I think Grant should be able to hang on here. Unfortunately, Anthony's run out of time. So, yeah, great battle, though. Great drive from Anthony to come back through the field. And well done to Josh on the win. Josh Rogers on the win.
Yeah, it was a great drive by Josh, wasn't it, as he comes through, and right behind him is our Class B winner, and that's Michael Hammond, who tried to pass him again to unlap himself. But second, Zach Hanlon, great drive by the young bloke. He's really showing his maturity here tonight. Josh Burden comes home in third in Class A, so that's your top 3, Class A. Class B, well, we had Michael's still coming around to finish. Michael Hammond will take out the win, and followed by Dylan Shepherd, second in Class B. Class C, Grant Hines managed to hold out Anthony Winkleman. Looking at Class C at the moment, let's have a look at how that finished. Something's happened to Adam here. We knew he was carrying damage, but according to my results here, Richard Brookfield will take out first in Class C, followed by Scott Stevens second, Trent Thomas third, and Adam Funslow has, Adam's got no front nose on that car. That's why he's down there in fourth.
Yeah, he's definitely put a lot more damage to the car since we last looked at it, unfortunately. So I dare say with that bit of damage he had originally, he's put a bit more onto it. And yeah, and well done on Scott and Trent for coming home second and third in the BMWs, and great drive by Richard to take the win.
And we'll just jump back to the replay here and see if we can see what's happened to Adam. Just trying to work out where he's gone off, folks, and very rarely has a bad luck type race, but tonight it didn't go his way, did it?
Yeah, like I said, it's very easy to heat the tyres up. Maybe having that wiggle down the straight has just put him off, and yeah, just like I said, he's just got a bit early on the gas there in that battle with Richard. He's actually come off on the downhill corner in the midsection there, Bernie, and yeah, put her into the fence nose first again, and yeah, that took the front right off it.
Yeah, well, he's probably lucky in a way that he still had the front on it. As we see the replay, oh, he went in heavy, didn't he? And he was lucky he didn't get cleaned up when he came back on the track.
Yeah, very lucky. Those other three drivers will be very grateful he didn't spin any further back on them. But yeah, just a shame for Adam. He was doing such a great job, and yeah, just one of those nights for him, unfortunately. But we know he'll be back next fortnight bigger and better than ever.
Oh, for sure. He definitely will be, and he's really getting to grips with that McLaren. I tell you what, he's definitely knows how to get every single bit of speed out of that car. Okay, so let's go through the full field and where each driver finished here, including all the retirements. So Josh Rogers takes out tonight's win in Class A, followed by Zach Hanlon. The gap was only 2.9 seconds at the end there. In third, Josh Burden. Fourth, Justin Strickland. Fifth, David Jellings. Sixth, Shane Reynolds. And then first in Class B and seventh outright, Michael Hammond. Eighth, Matthew Zimmerman in Class A, followed by TJ Brown, and Neil De Bruyn rounds out your top 10. Second in Class B, Dylan Shepherd, and 11th outright. Gregory Colgan home in 12th. Then third on the podium for Class B is Grant Hines, followed by Anthony Winkleman, Anthony Mansorella. Anthony Winkleman did a fantastic job there, coming home fourth in class from starting at the rear of the grid, and that's behind the GT3s. 15th, Anthony Mansorella. 16th, Daniel Leet. 17th, Scott Tamlin. 18th, Darren McKenzie. 19th was Lance Hawes, followed by Brad Fenley. That's your top 20. 21st and first in Class C is Richard Brookfield, followed by Scott Stevens, second in Class C. Third was Trent Thomas. Fourth, Adam Funslow. Then we had Craig Hopkins home in 25th in the Corvette and 2 laps down, followed by Alexander Sheridan. And then Matthew Mann comes home in 27th. Scott Goodman, 28th. And then the guys that had trouble out there tonight, Jason Bentz, 12 laps down, 29th. Louise Gallen, 17 laps down. I think he was one of our retirements, 30th. 31st, Nino Natal, 18 laps down, also retired, was Ben Darley Jr., 19 laps down. And then Brett Ender was our first retirement tonight, 20 laps down. So it looks like we've got quite a few guys down there to have a bit of a chat to, folks. So let's have a look at who we've got here for... trying to see, we've got more Class B guys, haven't we, at the moment? Oh, we've got Zach down there. We might bring Zach up and have a chat with him. Now, since he's one of your boys, do you want to do the interviews, Tim?
Oh, I can if you want, Bernie, yeah.
Ask him why I was so slow. See what reaction we get.
Hello, Zach. Welcome to the RRTV commentary booth. Good drive for second there for you tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much, Tim. Pretty decent race tonight. Obviously started in pole, which was nice, by quite a margin. But I was kind of expecting everyone else to not have quite as much pace as they did. But yeah, it was a pretty good race.
Yeah, you seem to lose out a bit in the pit stop there, mate. You take a bit too much fuel, or just one of those things?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of nicked off with myself. I took about 14 litres too much, so that was a bit unfortunate. I reckon, 14 litres takes a few seconds to get in, so if I hadn't have put that much in, I could have quite easily been on the draft with Josh when I came out. So, yeah, unfortunately, just a bit of, miscalculation. It's pretty hard to calculate your fuel and drive on the limit, especially in that DP. So unfortunately, just a bit of a miscalculation there.
Yeah, I did notice there in practice being 41 degrees, it was a bit slidey out there. How'd the setup go over the distance for you?
Well, in the first stint it was pretty bad. I was getting a lot of exit oversteer in a lot of places, and especially coming up through the top of Eau Rouge, the car was sliding around quite a lot. So I pumped up the tyre pressures for the second stint, and that seemed to help quite a lot. I started putting down some pretty consistent laps, but yeah, unfortunately Josh was pretty much matching me lap for lap. I dare say there wasn't much difference in pace between us, so all fair to him, and he had a good drive, and we had some fun out there as well.
Yeah, I was watching the lap times there. You and Josh Rogers seem to be just about every lap, but probably nailing it within about 1 to 2 tenths of a second of each other. But I did notice when you come out from the pit stop there, you must have made a slight change, because you were actually taking some time out of him, but unfortunately it looked like traffic just kept getting in the way for you there towards the end.
Yeah, look, I mean, traffic goes both ways. I caught some pretty bad ones. I was pretty much constantly getting, I think 3 laps in a row, I caught up to a GT3 coming into Pouen, which obviously isn't very helpful, being at such a high downforce corner and you've got a really slow car in front of you. But I'm sure that Josh had his fair share of, unfortunate placings where he needed to make some overtakes that he probably didn't want to do. But I dare say that if there hadn't have been any traffic, I may have caught up to him if I had have kept it putting in good consistent times, but he was very quick today.
No, great drive anyway, mate. Yeah, it'll actually help you out big time in the championship too. So I'll just see if Bernie's got any questions for you. Well done, mate.
Yeah, well done, Zach. That was a fantastic drive. Looking at the start, though, it looks like you might have been a bit tricked by which start line you were using, because we saw you bolt and then all of a sudden you were back on the brakes, slowing down for the chicane and forming up again.
Yeah, I forgot about the old endurance layout. It's been a while since I've actually done it. That's why I sort of I made a break for it and I went, oh, why is no one following me? So I had to slam on the brakes, and then I sort of let the queue come around the corner a bit in response to me taking off early. I tried to bunch everyone back up, but it seemed like everyone got a pretty clean start. So yeah, not too much drama.
No, not too much, but it was fun to watch and a great race there, so well done. Before we let you go though, Zach, do you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors?
Yeah, I'd love to thank Carnet Auctions. You can find them at carnet.com.au if you're in the market for a new vehicle. They do a very good job. They have some really competitive prices on really nice cars, BMWs, Mercedes, Holden Commodores, whatever you're after, you can get them there. And also GLW Freight. And also a big thanks to Tim, who's been sitting up in the commentary box with you tonight, because he's a bit of a setup wizard, and he got on with me this evening and really tuned that setup up much better than we had it before. So I don't think I would have been able to get such a good result if it wasn't for Tim. So thanks very much, mate.
No worries, mate.
Fantastic. Well done once again, and we look forward to catching up with you next time you hit the track.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
So we'll bring up our race winner for Class A, Josh Rogers, next, and have a chat with him. Hi Josh, welcome to RRTV's commentary booth. Congratulations, Class A winner. And it was looking pretty tight there earlier on, but you managed to get a bit of a gap.
Yeah, hey guys. Start of the race was definitely a close one. I was very worried considering driving the V8 for the past week. I jumped in or tried loading the session and it didn't want to work for me, and I think I only got about 10-15 minutes of driving it in quali. So yeah, after my quali performance I was actually very anxious about the race, but it seemed to go okay. The race length definitely helped me with giving me time to get used to the car and that, but it was a great race with Zach and Josh at the start there. Yeah, it was really intense.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, wasn't it, for the first probably good 60% of that race, and then you guys sort of, well, it mightn't have been that long, but then you sort of got that gap. So once you got that gap, I guess you could just start settling into a rhythm and managing it.
Yeah, that's basically it. Was a little bit of fuel number watching too, but thankfully the white flake came out at an opportune time and ended up having plenty of fuel. But basically after those pit stops it was just basically just settle into a rhythm, try to keep those incident caps low, considering Spa. Very easy to get off tracks here, but I'm curious as to if Zach and Josh took a bit too much fuel, because I was surprised to gap them as much as I did once I came out of pits and went past Zach.
Yeah, well, looking at the pit times, Josh Burton actually did a 17.2 second stop compared to your 17.6, so he was quicker. Zach Hanlon did 18.4 though, so you got 0.8 of a second up on him during that pit stop.
Okay. Definitely. Yeah, I couldn't have followed that race. All the driving was very clean, and it was nice and easy getting past lap traffic. But I will say sorry to Zach for going down Camel. To get my sim working, I had to reset all my settings, and I actually forgot to set my rear view mirror, so the FOV was a little bit off. I thought I was cleared, but I actually wasn't, and I made some contact. That's why I didn't feel the move was safe enough, and would readdress that position. But all in all, really good race. Good job on the broadcast too. He's always do a magnificent job at bringing us the best content you possibly can.
Yeah, thanks for that. And yeah, we saw that sportsmanship there when you backed off, and it must have been hard as a race driver to know that you had to let Josh Burton through before you could redress. But good move on that one.
Yeah, it was basically just a little bit of thinking about it, and eventually realised that it wasn't really on. Considering he ran off the track afterwards, so I thought it was the best decision to hand that back and not risk getting any more points penalties. Thankfully, I'll be here for the rest of the season, so hopefully we can see what we can do. It'll be a big gap to close, but I don't know. I guess I can only really hope for the best.
Yeah, you came into here on 11 points in 10th, and quite a big gap there, but have a few more of those races and you'll see that gap diminish. Before I let you go, I'm just going to pass you over to Tim Ballinger and see if he's got any further questions for you.
Yeah, well done on the win tonight, Josh. How are you finding driving the Corvette compared to the V8? They're completely different beasts in a lot of ways.
Definitely coming into tonight, driving, like you said, very, very different car, aero-based vehicle. It just feels completely different. It feels a little bit, from my point of view, a little bit numb in comparison, but a lot smoother through the corner, whereas probably mostly to do with the aero, whereas the V8 is more of a kind of aggressive and you gotta flick it in there. But I think it's probably only the main difference, the size as well. Inside the cockpit, I feel you can see a lot more in the V8 around you compared to the DP. There's a lot of bars and everything everywhere in the DP. Makes it a little bit difficult, but other than that, I think they're very, very similar cars. You can drive them similar, as just knowing where their weak spots and where their strong spots are, especially in braking. DP is much better, acceleration, whatnot. But I also believe too that driving the V8 does make driving the DP a little bit easier because of that throttle control and that. But that's basically it, I reckon.
No worries, mate. Well, congratulations on the win tonight, mate, and we look forward to seeing you back in a fortnight.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Before we let you go, Josh, did you want to give a shout out to any of your sponsors or anyone that's helped you with the car tonight?
Just a huge shout out to Richard Hampstead for doing my fuel tonight. It was a bit of a last minute thing as always, but thanks to Cask, one of TTL's fake sponsors. I guess they do a great job of supporting us, but that's about it, guys.
No worries, and I'm assuming Cask is they're into the wine industry or something like that.
Not too sure. I'll have to ask Sharman about that. I'll have to ask about some of the routes of that sponsor, possibly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Find out and bring it to us next time. We'll make sure we ask you. Anyway, Josh, congratulations, Class A winner, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, boys.
Okay, we've got Josh Burden, third in Class A, and then we'll start on our Class B interviews. Hi Josh, welcome to RRTV. Good drive there tonight. It was pretty close there at the start, and then it spread out a little bit.
Yeah, no, sure did. Hanlon and Rogers had a bit of a coming together there. About 10 minutes into the race, so I thought, oh yeah, you beauty. I kind of got through to the lead for a few laps, and yeah, that was that. That was about all the lead time I got. So still good, but I didn't have the pace tonight, and I didn't want to go over 20 incidents to get that penalty point. So
yeah, that incident cap seemed to play a big part in it. In the racing tonight for a few drivers, well, as far as sitting there in the background trying to conserve that incident cap. But you did get the fastest pit stop out of the top three with a 17.2 second stop, so well done on that.
Yeah, well, that's surprising because I had about 10 litres left at the end of the race, so I actually, when I come out I thought I actually lost time, but obviously not, so yeah, at least I didn't run out like I have the last couple of rounds, so it's always a bonus.
Yeah, and those, just for the viewers out there, those pit times can be a little bit misleading at Spa because the pit entry is so darn long here that I reckon you could lose close to 10 seconds easily if you weren't sitting on the limiter of that car.
Yeah, I remember last year for AEC we were doing a bit of testing in case we got a pit lane penalty or something like that, and it took a minute to transfer through the lane, just driving straight through, not doing your stop. So yeah, definitely a lot of time can be made up there, and when it transfers from the old pit to the new pit, if you're kind of taking it a bit easy through there, you can lose a couple of seconds there, so it's you can lose a lot of time in that pit lane, like you said.
Yeah, certainly can. And I've got Tim Ballinger here, so I'm going to hand you over to him and see if he's got any more questions for you, Josh.
Yeah, g'day Josh. Well done on another podium there, mate. Just didn't quite have the speed there tonight. They looked about half a second a lap quicker on race pace once you all spread out a bit.
Yeah, no, that's it. I didn't do enough practice this round, so only first laps was about 6 o'clock this afternoon, so definitely didn't help. But yeah, anytime you can get a podium with limited practice, I think you're going to be happy.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and it was good to have that battle up the front with the 3 years there. But yeah, it was a bit hectic for the start for you. And just a tip on the pit lane here, what you do is actually go through flat out, and it's only a 15-second hold penalty. We tested that for the AEC too, but we thought we'd better not do it.
Oh wow, that's that might be a bit of a bug they need to fix.
Well, if we were the only one doing it, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, definitely interesting pit lane. So I think I like the layout better for a few more cars on it. And, yeah, I've seen, especially in the VA races, there's been a couple of people who've been going through where it joins from the old pit lane to the new pit lane. So yeah, definitely interesting.
Yeah, I remember the first time I come here, they didn't actually have the wall there where the two pit lanes actually merged, and I actually ended up back on track, so that sort of didn't help much.
No, definitely, it's good that they've kind of redone the pit lane and made it how it is in real life.
Oh, well done on the podium tonight anyway, mate, and do you want to give a shout out to all your sponsors and your team before you leave, mate?
Yeah, for sure. Fusion Sim Racing, GT Omega, Daco, Ulex, Powerbond, TPR Engineering, and I think I'm missing one, but I can't remember, so sorry about that, but yeah, cheers.
Fantastic. Well, that was Josh Burden, third in Class A. Let's have a look at Class B, and we'll try and get through these interviews a little bit quicker if we can, so we don't hold you guys up at home too long. So Class B winner is Mike Hammond. I might get you to start on this one, Tim.
G'day. Welcome to the welcome there, Michael, to the RRTV commentary booth. Good to get another win in class there tonight.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be. It was really good to be in the top 10 again.
Yeah, how frustrating is it for you guys? Like, I know with some of the slower DP drivers, you sort of get jammed up with them a bit. Is that hindering the racing or making it a bit more interesting for you?
No, we're just having that discussion with the other fellas just saying. No, it's really good racing with them because they're a lot faster in straight lines. So when you get up and back of them, you get a bit of a toe. So if you can grab on the back of one, you can tow yourself away from the field like I did tonight.
Oh, that's great, mate. And good to see you going so well with the car and haven't lost your touch. And I'll just see if Bernie's got any questions for you.
No, I don't have too many questions for you, Mike. Once you got that gap, which was quite a big gap, I guess then you set your target, which was the Class A cars, and once again you've done well. 7th outright, and another fantastic drive.
Yeah, when I went into the pits, I was seeing TJ up the road from me, and he got that kind of bit of a gap on me, and then it started off, and I was thinking if he took tyres or not, but he must not have. So it was very interesting catching him, and yeah, like you said, set the target on him, and just tried to catch up to him.
Yeah, it must be frustrating for some of the DP drivers because you tend to get that GT1 pretty well wound up, and and you seem to give them all a hard time, which is always great to see.
I love giving this DPs a hard time in the Aston. Really solid car. Yeah, it's just they've got a bit of downforce, but around the twisties, the Aston really comes into itself between them, and with it's got some really good brakes under it too. As you would have seen a couple of times, it outbraked TJ into the hairpin. That was pretty fun. So yeah, the Aston's going really good between the C7. If it didn't have that 50 kilos, I reckon it would be going for the lead.
That would be awesome to watch. But how does the Aston go on its tyres over the 1 hour? Because we were out there in about 37 degrees, so is the Aston kind on its tyres or a bit hard?
It just depends which track you go to. With this one, because you got long undulating and corners in it, you're pretty wear out the tyres here. That's why I was happy to grab on a fresh set and start dropping the lap times again. So yeah, once you get to a long track with heaps of corners, the tyre plate comes into play.
Okay, yeah, I understand. So before we let you go anyway, Michael, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, shout out to Laser Racing and Simulate It, and RRTV for the good jobs they've been doing with the telecast, and Matt for the great series he's been hosting.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I think we'll see you back in this series in a fortnight, and then we'll see how many more DPs you can round up in that Aston.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in a fortnight. It's going to be fun. Do you know which truck we're running in a fortnight? Because I haven't had a look.
Yeah, it'll be an iRacing track, but apart from that, no.
Right, yeah. I'll see you next fortnight, whichever track we run there.
Alright, see you, mate.
Yeah.
Alright, who we got left down there? We've got our Class C. Who haven't we spoken to? We haven't spoken to Dylan Shepherd yet. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, so let's bring Dylan up. Dylan finished second in Class B. Hi Dylan, welcome to RRTV and congratulations, hey. Second in Class B. How was the race for you tonight?
Very interesting, very fun, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. Well, yeah, great racing between Anthony Mansella and me. Unfortunately, he had a bit of an off, just racing. But yeah, it took too much fuel on my pit stop, which meant the end got really interesting with the really ridiculous pace of Anthony Winkleman and also I can't remember his name now. The results real quick. Grant Hines. So yeah, Grant Hines. Even Anthony catching me. So trying to manage that after taking too much fuel was a bit interesting. But yeah, ended up staying in front of him. A bit of help from traffic. Really happy with P2. That's one position up from last week. So hopefully next round that's another position up in the P1.
Yeah, well, that'd be pretty good. We didn't catch what did happen to Anthony Mansarella. Was there actually contact between you guys, or did he just sort of go off track by himself?
So we came down the straight after Rouge and Blanchimont and went through the right left kind of side by side. I don't think it was too side by side, but he managed to stay in front of me through it, and then in the hairpin I was still behind him, and then I gave a little bit of a runoff for the hairpin, so I kind of poked my nose in coming into the left-hander, and it wasn't really intended to be a move. It was just going to be like, see if I can freak me out a little bit, and he ended up seeing me and giving me racing room to poke in, so we went in side by side, and then on the exit he just ran a little bit wide, and well, we were talking about before, and he said that he got on the gas a little bit too early, and yeah, so he spun out. There was no car contact at all, but it was just one of them things that a bit unavoidable. But yeah, it's just racing.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like he fell victim to being a gentleman, as we know he is. But yeah, great racing in the Class Bs, and you guys were really turning it on earlier on in the race, and I definitely enjoyed watching you.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. Both qualified with the exact same qualifying time, so it was always going to be an interesting race if we got together, and I had to chase him down a little bit, but yeah, so it was always going to be an interesting race. Unfortunately it ended a little bit early, but just as this series has proved, it's becoming really fun, and yeah, I had to be careful of the guys coming behind me in the end, and yeah, of course Michael Hammond just had ridiculous pace tonight and managed to smash us all, but so congratulations to him. He's obviously put the time and effort in, and yeah, we'll look on the next race and hopefully can catch up to him.
Yeah, fantastic, and I'm going to hand you over to Tim Ballinger now and see if Tim's got any further questions for you, but from me, well done.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, well done on another podium there, Dylan. How are you finding the Aston now? You're starting to settle into the groove with it?
Yeah, it's actually probably one of my favourite cars on the service. Kind of just suits my driving style. You don't have to be too careful with it, and you can push it pretty hard. So, yeah, I like it. Yeah, it took a bit of practice with me. I had to practice a little bit this week, just so I could.
You still there, Dylan?
No, I seem to have lost him there, Bernie.
Yeah, you seem to have lost Dylan Shepherd, folks, so sorry about that, but I'll just try one more time. You with this now, Dylan?
Yeah, I am. If I dropped out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, we got you, mate. Before we let you go, before you drop out again, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yes, yeah, One Performance Racing has joined up with Fusion Sim Racing, and yeah, been pretty successful with them so far, so massive shout out to the team for letting us on. I have to thank all the sponsors for the team, TPR Engineering for staying on board with us, GTO Mega Racing, Daco, Newilex, GTI and Sim Instruments, to name a few.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, we'll see you in a fortnight when Asper goes to another track, which I still haven't worked out what it is yet.
Let me see if I can have a quick look.
Got a feeling it might be Twin Ring Montegi, I think, Bernie.
Monza.
Oh, Monza.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. That'll be good.
I don't think I can make it. I'm in Sydney for training that week. Hopefully I can find a reserve driver.
Oh, you've got a couple of weeks to work that one out.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll see you when I see you guys.
Well done, Dylan.
Okay, folks, let's start looking at our Class C, and we've got Scott Stevens waiting to come up, as well as Trent Thomas. We'll bring Scott up first, because Scott came second in Class C, and we'll have a chat with him. Hi Scott, welcome to RRTV. It's been a good night for Fusion Sim Racing in Class A and B, as well as Class C, and I think you came home second.
G'day Bernie, g'day Tim, and thanks for having us up here. Yeah, pretty solid result so far for the boys tonight, so which is good. And for myself, yeah, P2 was kind of a little unexpected. I kind of thought third place would have been there. But yeah, happy to pick up second for sure.
Yeah, well, we were watching you starting to close in as the BMW started coming in its own, as it always does in these towards the end of the races. Do you think you would have had enough speed to actually catch the two in front of you?
It got down to 2.4 seconds, 2.3 seconds at one stage, and we didn't have traffic around us, so but yeah, then some kind of lap traffic came into play, and obviously that always has an effect on trying to catch and where you get overtaken as to how much time you lose. And I was trying to minimise that and was actually running the inside line, because outbraking them, then at least you can get your apex properly rather than having to like sit up and wait for them to get through the corner. So I don't know, maybe like another 10 or 15 minutes added onto the race I think would probably make a pretty big difference. I think it would be like a really awesome battle towards the end, a couple of laps, and yeah, we might have a bit more of a chance then.
Yeah, and it looked like as that race progressed, Adam's tyres went off pretty spectacularly, I guess you could say, when he went into the fence. What were your thoughts when that happened?
Well, it was quite odd because leading the straight leading up to that corner, he was just like weaving left and right behind Richard, and I was like, why are you doing that? How funny would it be if like you spun out? Next thing, I'm coming up to the braking zone, there's just clouds of smoke everywhere and he's in the wall. So but yeah, apparently he was talking to Richard on TeamSpeak and just got on the gas too soon or too hard and spun it into the wall. So yeah, a bit of bad luck for him, but if those two had kept fighting, I think that would have like helped me pull them in a bit and could have had like a three-way battle to the end there. But I actually, I think I crossed the line after clutching it on the back straight in 6th gear. I just put the clutch in and crossed the line at the end there with about 0.2 of a litre. So it was pretty touch and go for me anyway.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it. Yeah, we were wondering about Class C if anyone would have to do a splash and dash, and you pretty much answered that. You nearly did have to. I'm going to hand you over to Tim and see if he's got any more questions for you.
Good result there tonight, Scott, getting up to second. How are you finding the BMW now? You starting to get the hang of it again?
Yeah, not too bad. Like that's, I think, my second or third race in the series. So I used to really love it and just, I don't know, I just found a lot of tracks I could just get to and belt around in it pretty quickly. But you really, for a BMW driver to keep up with the McLarens through the start of the race and then through the middle, and then the McLarens start kind of coming back to the end because of tyre life, but you're really like on the ragged edge, like every lap you're pretty much almost putting in a qualifying lap just to try to keep with them, so that later on in the race your effort doesn't have to be as hard to try and catch or get past them, because their drop off is kind of a lot worse. And I really noticed that in down through the middle section of the track, like getting through the corner and on the power was just a lot better. But definitely I love the BMW. It is a really nice car to drive. I've always liked it since it came out. Kind of looking at probably making the step into either Audi or the Merc when it comes out in the March build, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll be probably playing around with it during the week that it comes out and seeing what I kind of like and what benefits there are.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of teams trying to do that. Week 13 build comes out, testing the 4 cars, and anyway, great on the result tonight, mate. Good to see you keep plugging away and nearly got them in the end. And you want to give a shout out to your sponsors and your team?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, I actually want to say to your mate Trent Thomas down there, who you'll probably bring up next, a bit of a sorry for the for the lap 2 kind of contact. That's 2 races in a row that we've come together, but we know it's good fun and there's no malice or intention in it. But yeah, I ended up with a bit of bent steering on that one myself, so I think Trent may have as well. But yeah, to you guys, thanks very much for the broadcast. to all the guys at Fusion Sim Racing. Like, the team's coming along really well, and developing pretty quickly. And as tonight's a bit of a case and example, like 3 different classes and 3 podiums. So that's really good to see. And to our sponsors, our prime sponsor, GT Omega Racing for my car, Dayco, TPR Engineering, Nulex, GTI, and Sim Instruments.
Fantastic. Well done once again, Scott. And we'll bring Trent up and get his view about your dirty driving techniques, eh?
Yeah, bring him up.
Hi Trent, welcome to RRTV. We're just speaking to your mate there, Scott Stevens, and he apologised for the contact in turn 2 with you. What's your take on that?
Yeah, not happy about that. It's 2 races in a row. He's run into me now, but nah, just kidding. It's it was good fun. I actually thought I turned in on him, but we reviewed the footage ourselves, and it looks like just a racing incident. But and then we just sort of tried to. I actually got a slowdown from cutting across the grass there after we touched, and that sort of put me behind Scott Goodman, I think, at the start. Managed to pass him on the next lap, and then the gap to Scott just sort of stayed at a constant rate, and he couldn't get away, but I couldn't catch him either. So it was another really tough battle with him the whole race.
Yeah, and it was a good race for you too, because you were sitting back there in 4th and just putting in those consistent laps, and it definitely paid off in the end when you got 3rd in the podium.
Yeah, I was quite happy to get 3rd. I thought 4th was going to be where I was going to be today. Scott definitely had the pace to stay ahead of me, but after the pit stops, I don't know what happened. I thought I timed it pretty well, but I come out just ahead of all the leaders, so I lost about good 5 seconds, I guess. Letting all the leaders through for the next couple of laps after my stop, and that showed when Scott came out of the pits, and he was about 5 seconds up the road. But and that's pretty much where the gap stayed through the whole race, while he gradually caught up to the back of the McLarens ahead of us. They seemed to be struggling a bit, I guess, towards the end of the race, while ours were still roughly about the same. The tyre life had a lot of push, but tyre life, I don't think, really suffered too much during the whole stint, especially when you got on low fuel. It certainly made the car handle fairly neutral through the whole stint.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying during the broadcast, was the McLarens are generally a lot harder on their tyres, and we sort of saw that later on with Adam, with his off tracks, I guess, would have had some sort of factor in that. But before we let you go, Trent, I'm going to pass you over to Tim Ballinger, and we'll see if Tim's got any more questions for you.
Well done on the podium, Trent. Bugger, I couldn't race with you tonight, but anyway, we're up here talking with Bernie, and how'd you find the race? All good?
Yeah, mate. I actually struggled with the car. I haven't been happy with the setup leading up to this race at all. The car I had at Sebring, and compared to this one, were just like night and day. Basically, I just couldn't get in tune with it. I've been struggling with that final chicane pretty much all week, all practice sessions. Probably about the second half of the race, I finally started to nail that corner, and then I started struggling with turn 1. So I couldn't really get into a rhythm tonight. I just found it a little bit hard to try and get that rhythm, and when I did find one, I'd get traffic and it'd sort of break it, and it'd take a while to get back again. But otherwise, yeah, it was an enjoyable race.
Yeah, I found with the BMW, especially a track here like Spa, it really likes that trail braking into a corner to get that nose in to get it to turn.
Yeah, no, that's what I found at Sebring, the setup I was running there. Like, that's why I was, even Scott said that I was really, really strong on the brakes, and it was it was really stable, and I could really trail it right into the apex of the corner, and it just kept turning. Whereas here, it's sort of too fast and flowing. My strongest areas were through all the twistier, slower corners, is where I'd made up the ground on the cars ahead. But yeah, unfortunately, the faster sweepers car wasn't really working in those sorts of corners.
Yeah, it's a very flowing track, this one. Especially the BMW too, having that straight line speed disadvantage. You're trying to run as little wing as possible, which sort of is against what the nature of the car is too sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I tried running a little bit lower, but I just couldn't control the rear end under braking the way I like to brake. Fairly heavy and late, and as I said, right into the apex of the corner. I found it sort of wanted to step out a little bit too much, but other than that, I did drop it probably below what I'd normally run, and it sort of, I didn't have too much of a speed disadvantage to Scott on the straights, but yeah, I'm not sure what speed those McLarens were doing, but they're definitely pretty quick.
Well done on another podium there. Bad luck to Adam, but yeah, you've got the spoils on that one. And do you want to thank your sponsors and your team before we let you go, mate?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, commiserations to Adam too. He's a strong competitor. Unfortunate for him to lose the podium in that way. And yeah, thank long-time sponsor Monster Designs. We've got quickbeds.com. We're in their grassroots program. Use code 1564 when booking accommodation. It helps our team in running a series that we run, SMAC, returning to Frack next season. And a new sponsor we've got, Stell's Styles. You go to stellstyles.com.au. It's a brand new website they've just got up. Australian themed, rustic designed gifts and homewares.
Fantastic. Well, we'll definitely check that out. So anyway, Trent, hopefully we'll see you back on the track next round of Aspa.
Yep, looking forward to it. I love driving this BMW. It's been a while, and I enjoyed driving it when it first came out, and it's good to get back in the driver's seat again.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, mate. See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, folks, our final interview for the night is Matthew Zimmerman, and we'll speak to him about his experience driving as well as how he's enjoying the series, managing it. Hi Matt, welcome to RRTV, and thanks for waiting for the final interview of tonight. Firstly, as a driver, how was that race for you?
Yeah, g'day guys. Yeah, no, it was a nice clean drive tonight. Managed to keep it out of trouble, and yeah, I think after only qualifying about 12th or so on the grid, I got it home 8th overall and 7th in class. So yeah, reasonably happy for that. Just another consistent effort, I think, for me, rather than any sort of blinding pace or any sort of pace too close to the front. So yeah, no, another solid run tonight.
Yeah, fantastic. And how did the DP behave itself in that weather tonight?
Not too bad. It takes a little bit whenever you get those significant weather changes, track temperature changes. It can take a little bit of getting used to know how to drive the car in those conditions. So tonight was a fair bit hotter than the first practice session. I think it was a difference of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius hotter than the first practice I did here. So I got around it mostly with tyre pressure change slightly and a little bit of change to the differential just to get the car to turn in a little bit better, and that seemed to do the job not too badly. But yeah, you've got to make sure not to go too crazy with car settings when the weather changes, because yeah, it's usually only a very slight adjustment that's required, and the rest is just you adapting to those conditions yourself and just accepting the fact that you're not going to go as fast as you would have otherwise, whatever you do.
Yeah, because it's so easy to change a lot of settings on the car and lose yourself, isn't it, in these hotter conditions?
Definitely, yeah. That balance, getting the balance in the car, any of these cars, can be really fine. You can do a couple of one notch here or there is probably not going to kill it, but 2 or 3 notches in change of one setting or a couple of settings and can throw it out the window sometimes to a certain degree.
It certainly can, and from a race organiser point of view, we had another great turnout here tonight.
Yeah, that was fantastic to see. I'm glad to see the attendance ticking over like that. It's really good. We've got some new people coming through, and I have left things open. So I think last season I closed entries after about round 3, and once we had about, I think, 20 20 in each class or thereabouts. So I think 20 in the biggest class rather. Then numbers sort of dwindled towards the end of the season. So I've left it open here, and I'll only close it if we start getting to the point where we can't fit everyone in. I think that's sort of unlikely to happen now with the number of cars that iRacing allow on the server. But yeah, so I'll leave entries open up until the only one I won't do. I won't leave entries open for is the final round. So people will need to get in before. Or rather before the second to final round, because I don't want new people turning up in the finale and potentially, interrupting in championship battles and that sort of stuff when things go down to the wire.
Yeah, that's a good call. And looking at the three classes, it's looking good because it's looking like we're getting a balanced turnout in all three classes, and they're all putting on a great show and having some great battles out there.
Yeah, I'd agree. No, there's certainly, I think now we've got 22 or 3 people entered in DP now, and I think 21 in GD3. That's roughly 50-50 split for ProAm there, and then about another 19 or so in GT1. So it's certainly been some good battles going on. It's been enjoyable to watch a broadcast too after the race and have a look at those.
Yeah, it's awesome fun calling it too. I just had a look at you coming into the pits, and it looked like you were held up by a car on its roof in pit lane. Do you know who that was?
Yeah, that's bit of a habit for our team. I think at the moment, after we put our number 229 on its roof at AEC when we couldn't get out of the way of the spinning leader there. That was my teammate Neil in the number 7. He was fiddling around with the settings, the black box settings in the car there for his pit stop, and just lost concentration at that critical moment when you're going around that ridiculously tight corner in the middle of the pits there, and just sort of clipped there's sort of a section there where the fence ends, and then there's a little bit of intermediate fence, and then the cement bollard starts again, and he clipped that and put it on its roof, doing about probably 15 or 20k an hour. So yeah, he was kicking himself for that, and he had some decent pace. It was beating me on pace tonight, and it's a real shame to see him do that, because he probably lost 3 positions from doing that. That sort of thing can happen.
Yeah, I just caught it on the replay here. Before I let you go though, I'm going to pass you over to Tim, who was gracious enough to jump in the box with me tonight and forfeit his drive in the BMW.
G'day Matthew. Good to see the series going ahead the way it is. If you had put any thought into, like, I suppose from my point of view, you look at some of the drivers that aren't as quick, sort of getting mixed up in the classes, especially at the start, like if they can't out-qualify the class ahead, maybe have a pit lane start for them. Yeah,
it's certainly something. That's probably the one thing that I'm thinking of maybe making some sort of adjustment for next season. I mean, even this season we added in that clause to make sure that people in DP and GT1 are faster than everyone in GT3, and perhaps something similar is needed between DP and GT1. But those two classes are just so similar on pace, and maybe it's a bit of an extra weight penalty on GT1 just to split them a bit. But yeah, I'm probably one of the offenders there in terms of I'd like to say not in terms of causing any issues, but my pace is sort of near the back of the DP class, and usually only just slightly faster than the GT1, the leading GT1 car. So for the most part, I think everyone's been respectful and kept things clean, but it can be a little bit annoying. It'd be good to be able to separate the DPs and the GT1s on lap 1 at least anyway, and the only real way to do that, apart from, like I said, implementing some sort of a penalty like a pit lane start, would be to have to grid the classes separately. So, and that would in a multi-class situation, that would mean only having one car in each class. So only having one GT3 and one GT1. But yeah, it's certainly something I've been thinking about. The idea I sort of came up with just not long ago was maybe docking another point for anyone who finishes behind a slower class car. So just as an extra deterrent to make sure you are up to speed in the class. But certainly something that's in fact probably the only at this point that I'm looking to change for next season.
Yeah, it's very hard for you to try and sort that out. I mean, you've got so many people who like racing their particular car, and you'd hate to see someone miss out. Yeah, very hard for them. And with the limitations iRacing give you as far as gridding goes. So, yeah, best of luck getting your head around that one. But other than that, I think the series is all going well for you.
Yeah, cheers. No, it's good to see good numbers turn out. Anything over 30, solid for a weeknight. It's really good, and hopefully we keep getting that happening. And thanks for the feedback and thanks for the encouragement, and thanks also for getting on the commentary tonight. And I saw your comment there about getting a one of those penalties for the number, but nothing personal, just going through the motions, and then afterwards, oh crap, he's doing the commentary, isn't he?
It's alright, I like playing mind games. Yeah, just on that, Bernie, on behalf of everyone at RRTV and the iRacing community, I'd just like to wish AJ all our condolences and all the best with him having to attend a funeral today, and we're all thinking of you, mate, and can't wait to get you back.
Yeah, definitely my thoughts, I'll second that, my thoughts with AJ tonight, and we can't wait to have you back in the booth with us, mate. If it wasn't for you, this channel wouldn't be what it is today. But Matt, before we let you go, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors?
Yeah, we got pingpongathon.com on there, as usual, a charity that we support. So which helps stop exploitation of children over in Asia, and so something I'm a bit passionate now. I've got kids of my own and all that sort of stuff. So they're on the car there to show support, and towards the end of the year, it's like October, November. That's when they have the ping pong event itself, which is like 24 hours of ping pong basically. A bit like your 24 hours of Daytona or Le Mans. We have 24 hours of ping pong to raise money for that cause.
Fantastic. That must be a heck of a spectacle to watch.
Oh yeah, it is a bit. Yeah, I mean, you sort of do it in shifts. Like obviously, you'd probably pass out if you did it with 24 hours yourself. But so much like endurance racing, you do it in shifts. But we have several tables set up, and go from there.
Fantastic. I think I couldn't do it because I think I'd throw my shoulder out in the first 10 minutes. But anyway, it's a good cause. So thanks, Matt, for popping in, and it's that time, folks, when we start to wrap up our broadcast. It's been another great night in the commentary box, and I'd like to thank Tim for joining us and covering off for AJ tonight.
Yeah, thanks again, Tim. That's a fantastic effort. I can't wait to look at the coverage and see how it goes and all that. But cheers again.
Thanks, fellas. Bit disappointed. I had speed tonight too.
Bummer, you'll get them next time. But thanks also, Bernie, for your ongoing efforts for this. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, no worries. And for all the viewers out there, the drought is over this weekend. I think we've got the Clips of 500 coming for V8 supercars, and definitely looking forward to that. But on that note, one of our mates from Redback Racing, he's been a long-standing member. He's actually having a drive in the V8 Utes this weekend. So if you're listening out there, Luke, best of luck, mate. And that's Luke Spalding, and he's been doing it tough. He's 2 weeks ago he had to have an operation. He's come out of that. He's got chemo going on while he's racing, and he's getting a drive in a V8 Ute this weekend. So you're an inspiration, mate, and best of luck out there.
There you go, get him, Luke.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it now, folks, for the rest of the week. The SDRT Endurance Series is on this Friday night, but I may not be in a position to be able to call that race, unfortunately, due to family commitments myself. But we definitely hope you've enjoyed tonight. We will be back next Monday night for the Monday night skip barber lights, because the Australian GT1 Championship's wrapped up now and we're coming to the end of the season. But if you like your open wheeler racing, definitely tune in Monday night. However, we've still got a lot of racing there for all you guys out there that like your iRacing. Check out our channel at RRTV Live. That's youtube.com/RRTV Live. There's over 200 videos there for you to watch, and we hope you enjoy it. And if you do, subscribe to our channel and let your friends and family know. Well, anyway, Tim, thanks, mate, once again for popping in. It's been great having you. Is there any final comments you want to make before we sign off?
No, just thanks for the opportunity again, Bernie. I'm glad I could help out, and thank you to all the viewers and everyone who raced tonight for putting on a good show.
Yeah, fantastic. So anyway, folks, on behalf of Jim Ballinger, I'm Bernie Wiemers. Thank you for watching our telecast tonight, and we hope you have a good evening. Good night.